So you came from Newfoundland, and you're just outside of St. John's.
Yes, from Mount Pearl.
Mount Pearl. Is that north?
It's surrounded by St. John's now.
Okay.
It's St. John's is after absorbing all the communities around it.
Yeah. Like Calgary?
Yeah, basically. But Mount Pearl refused to.
Why?
Growing up, it was said is because we had better snow clearing, and we didn't want to get on St. John's snow clearing.
That's
it, yep.
municipal affairs. Gridlocked.
Famously a bedroom community.
Yeah.
So everyone works in St. John's but sleeps in Mount Pearl.
And so you moved out to Alberta, and I remember, like, you telling me about your first week here, how weird it was.
Oh, it was very weird. I never left the island before. I was 26. I got here the 23rd of December. My dad was living here. He was doing instrumentation.
Yeah.
And I was working at Wendy's at the time back home, I think. And he said, there's all kinds of jobs up here now. So he bought me a plane ticket. I went up, slept on his couch. We went Christmas Day. I had to buy computer speakers because I brought up my computer, but I didn't have no speakers. And of course, nothing was open. But it was in Mayland Heights. So then we went to TNT Supermarket. Now he'd never been there before either.
Yeah.
And we walked in there, and it was packed. Right? It was packed. Yeah. It was the most Asian people I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like easily.
Compared to the two from Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. It was like going to China for me, just walking around and seeing. I've never seen anything like that in my life. So that was strange enough. And then, like even just riding the bus and stuff, like trying to get everything was so completely different. Like when I went downtown looking up, seeing all the tall buildings, and blew my mind kind of thing. I was such a country bumpkin,
Yeah. What I noticed was weird about Calgary when I first got here was there was still culture. Like, remember Jackass Coffee on 17th Ave?
No.
Yeah. If you were to explain to somebody under the age of, 20, what Tubby Dog was, like it's what? So it got crushed in the Troubles. And, I don't know, he's kind of making a go of it at some other, bar or something like that. But, you'll never have a Tubby Dog.
Well, that whole Red Mile thing. So when I first came here too, it was the year after, I think Calgary went all the way in the playoffs, and you were all over the news.
And there was no hockey the next year.
Well, the riots and everything, right? So that next year, I was like, this is going to be sick. Because a lot of my Newfie buddies had moved here too, right? Young fella.
Yeah.
So a lot of Newfie young fellas come up here. And so I did have lots of friends to hang on to and to meet and stuff. And they were all about Red Mile, So they all lived down there, kind of downtown and stuff. And we'd always end up at the Ship.
Yeah.
Places like that, Tubby Dog, whatever else.
Yeah, it's still alive.
But yeah, I was disappointed when the next year the Flames sucked at the hockey, and I was hoping to see, pallets lit on fire on the road. And
I think there was a strike.
Yeah, was that what it
Player
was?
strike the year after they almost got to the
I know it was you were in the news one year, and then I came here.
Yeah.
And then, but still, Red Mile was actually pretty sweet. It was reminding me back home a little bit of George Street.
Well, it was more like an event, but I mean specifically where do things happen here now? Do you think?
Oh, geez, I don't know. I think we're too old for that.
Yeah, maybe.
We're not out clubbing no more,
But Tubby Dog wasn't a club. Like Jackass wasn't a club. I remember I was talking to this other guy, and he was talking about street races that they used to have, and just weird stuff that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, it was kind of a different generational thing too, probably, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if apparently the young people, they don't go out too much.
Why would they?
Well, everything costs a fortune now too, so.
We should get it shipped. Fuck it.
Yeah, Tubby Dog, Red Mile, 4th Street.
Yeah.
We'd be all over there.
Do you remember any impressions that you had of Calgarians, specifically?
You couldn't find one.
Yeah.
That's what I found.
They're rare.
They were incredibly rare, yeah.
And
Every night I meet, where are you from?
yeah,
You know? You can't be from here, are you? You know.
I worked pretty hard to get rid of my accent because I didn't want people knowing. But then now when you hear a brogue, you're just kind of like, what are you up to?
Oh, definitely. I've many times I've been at like the grocery store and there'll be a lady in front of me. And just by the way she rolls her T's,
Yeah.
you know, she'll say, but, you know, and it's like, oh, hello.
Where are you at?
Where are you from? I'm from Newfoundland. Sure, no, is that girl? Which part?
Yeah.
You know.
So, because I remember when I moved out, there was, who's the fucking reform leader? He's a weird, like, religious guy. Fuck, it doesn't matter. Anyways, Albertans were perceived as religious and somewhat uptight.
Some of them, not sort of. That's not the impression we kind of had. Well, we knew it as a place that stole all our young fellas. So,
For 6 months, you know, for 6 weeks to 6 months at a time. Like,
or forever, or their mom had to come up and bring them home because they ended up throwing all their money up their nose.
yeah.
Kind of thing, right? When I was back home, I didn't appreciate it. We'd always, oh, you're a Calgarian. I met one guy in school, Jonathan. He was a right on fella. And he was from Calgary. And he'd always, you know, he'd be saying, oh, well, Calgary's pretty awesome, man. You know, like,
Yeah.
but you guys always poo-pooing it and stuff. And just because, you know, that little bit of rivalry kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know. But now that I've been up here, I got to say he was right. You know, Calgary's pretty, after, it was the first place I've been off the island, but I've been around since.
Yeah.
And I got to say, out of all the other places I've been in Canada, Calgary's number one.
Yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, Toronto's full of fucking losers. And Vancouver's full of scumbags.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
They vote terribly. Is all that matters.
The city's just
I'll take the Saskies, boy. They can come with us, but
too busy, too crazy. Like,
I guess. I mean, it is pretty small for a big city. I mean, it still takes you an hour to get across it, but
well, everyone here seems, you know, pretty decent. They're here to work, and because nobody's from here, it's hard. And when you do find someone from Alberta or even Calgary, they're usually a right-on, like, small farm type of person.
yeah. So why? Like, I would consider Newfoundland to have its own culture, its own people. They're a distinct people.
Yes.
They're unique. They meet the criteria of a distinct people, like their own language, effectively, their own fucking food, their own social mores and kind of cultural heritage. And so do Albertans, but it's like it's harder to pin down. But if you look
very
at
much different.
if you look at other cultures that come here, they end up forming like associations. They're like, oh, this is the Ethiopian association. This is the Somali association. This is the
This is the Ukrainian association, Hungarian.
This is Chinatown. You know, I often wonder why Newfies don't do that.
I don't know. I think we'd feel like right tits if we did, wouldn't we? Like this.
Yeah, but shouldn't you?
You mean like?
Like, do you have to not be from the country in order to have?
Well, do they get like some sort of special legal status?
No, it's a way for, instead of like most people are like, oh, get on the Facebook group. Like, it's the physical version of the Facebook
I think we just
group.
feel kind of silly if we did something. No, there's been Facebook groups and stuff like.
Yeah. That's like a neighbor, like,
You know, Calgary Newfie group or something like that. But
yeah, but there's no one's like, oh my God, it's so-and-so's moving out from the island and we got to introduce her to everybody down at the Newfie Association.
no,
It's
that's
like,
lame. You can't do that.
that's what everybody else does. That is from a different country.
Well, they speak a different language. Like that.
Not always.
You know, they probably have like Ukrainian school for all I know. You know, or like.
So like, yeah, and most of those people that go to it are like second generation. They're not even from, you know, the motherland, right? So it's,
We feel foolish doing that. That'd be crazy.
okay, so I went to like that fireworks thing down on 17th Ave. They have every year, and they have a little competition, and they had like every European country there. Just about like the Balkans. I was like, oh, the Romanian tent is way too close to the Albanian tent. Like shit's gonna go down. Like they've balkanized the fairgrounds.
You know, if we hadn't joined Canada, maybe.
Oh, so where I was going with that was, and I try to think about like, because they all have their own like, here's our food. Like the Korean booth had their like, here's Korean face cream. Like that's important somehow. But if you look at, they're like, oh, here's Romania. Here's a traditional Romanian dress. Here's a traditional Romanian lute, or
A history lesson.
Yeah, like here's our people. Here's what we say. Here's what we believe. Here's what we do. And I try to imagine the same thing in another country. Like, what would Canadians do? If so, like you, me, and like 20 assholes from Toronto are like all, and maybe like 5 assholes from Quebec are all trapped in.
You can leave the Torontos.
No, we're all in like Guangzhou or something like that, and they're like, oh, it's a cultural fest. Like they're having a thing. Like they've asked us to set up a Canadian booth. What goes in there? Like what do you tell people is Canadian?
Just stereotype stuff. I mean, I could bring a bunch of Newfie stuff. You
But
know,
like-
you got Nanaimo bars and beaver tails and
Yeah, but like they didn't have like
maple syrup on snow.
Here's this one province in Romania, and this is what they do. That's completely different from everyone else. Like, no, we're Romanians. These are our eyebrows. This is the music we listen to. This is our flag. And like with America, it would just be like, yo, check it out. Fucking.
I think we're too young for something like this. I mean, you could bring some, indigenous stuff maybe,
Really?
but
Is that-
I wouldn't be able to bring any.
Well, like, but what would the Canadian, if you had to set up a Canadian booth, what would be in it? Like for Canada.
Mountie uniform, Canadian flag,
Fucking sad booth,
bunch
dude.
of minerals. I could think of some good foods to have there.
Some like seal blubber.
Seal flipper pie.
You could eat some raw seal blubber.
Yeah, something like that. You could bring some mucklucks and some of the Inuit things, but it's not shared. But yeah, like you said, we're so big and broad that
So what is the
they'd ask me, "Oh, can you speak to this?" Like, nope, I have not.
like if you're like fill a tent with Alberta history, like yo,
I can barely tell you where a Nanaimo bar is from.
I can fill an Alberta tent. More so than I could like in the Brunswick tent. I'm out of luck, dude. There's nothing.
There's a lot of different things. I mean, Vancouver's got its own kind of thing going on, and so do the territories, obviously.
Okay, but what unites them? What defines them?
What do you mean, all of us together?
Yeah.
Confederation?
Well, like that's like saying like, oh, where'd this house come from? Like, I don't know. I was here when I moved in.
Hey, man,
Like,
we got in last. I just got here. All right, like
well, yeah, you had to be Drogian, really,
basically,
in a
yeah.
way, because we can't have you over there doing stuff, being Newfies.
Just being a fancy airport. That stop off on the
Being a-
Indiana Jones map when he
being a-
goes across the water.
being a military outpost.
Yeah.
But yeah, like what?
I think you could surface level do a bunch of stuff. I mean, you'd have hockey, right? You could have the regional foods, picture of a Mountie,
Okay, poutine. We've got-
evergreen trees, some lumberjack stuff, get some minerals and oils in there.
Yeah, but I feel like all police enforcement has worn an outfit, and I guess maybe poutine sort of counts.
But
Ginger,
it's
ginger
just
beef.
distinct, right? Yeah, Caesar drink.
Yeah, Caesar, ginger beef. Just a picture of Trudeau in blackface. Like
Yeah, the ginger beef hilarious.
super
'Cause
racist prime minister. How about that?
people come in, it's like this. Canada's known for Chinese food, like fast
Yeah.
food Chinese food. Like yeah, kind of, yeah.
That's where it was.
Cattle gratin.
Because it's interesting to think about people who have distinct cultures and identities within Canada.
Oh, very much so. I could totally fill that booth with Newfie stuff.
Yeah, but that consider themselves Canadian. And
I consider myself a Newfoundlander first.
yeah, you're a fifth column. Like
I don't know.
you're among us, dude.
I don't know if it's Well, don't be afraid.
Well, I don't know. Like, you got people everywhere. You fucking give each other away by the fucking...
There's not many of us. But yeah, there is that distinction. It's kind of like in America, the States, you know what I mean? They're super distinct.
A Texan is unique, but they all say y'all, and they all love the Constitution. What do all Canadians do?
Right now, just bitch about Trudeau, I suppose.
Be politically fucking impotent?
Say sorry.
I thought there was a lot of people saying, like, oh, Canadians aren't doing that anymore. Like, they're no longer polite.
Oh, I don't know. I think...
Are you sure?
I'm a Canadian, so it's hard for me to say.
A lot of assholes, dude.
Well, we're in Alberta, right? So,
yeah, a lot of Alberta assholes here. But, like, I've never felt more Albertan than I read this article. It was like some Toronto fucking cuck just being like, nobody needs lifted trucks with diesel outs. Like, they're like, oh, these are a terror. And I'm just like, man, shut the fuck up.
Nobody needs pumpkin spice lattes either.
Yeah, like,
right?
They're like, oh, it's a hazard. Like, it's causing all these problems, and it's very bad. And I'm like, dude, it's the best. These things are awesome. Who would you rather hang out with? Somebody from driving, like, a fucking jacked up lift kit, fucking rolling coal guy, or the dude in a Prius?
Probably the first guy.
Yeah. I think Alberta teaches you that. No matter how hard Toronto and Vancouver tries to, like, kind of be like, rednecks are lame. It's just like, no, they're not.
I don't know if people think that. Only a certain type of person really thinks that. I think everyone, the general people think that, rednecks are actually pretty fun. They're a little mental, and they might not be up to date on everything, on how you're supposed to behave, certain topics, but...
Well, like...
I'd rather have a beer with a redneck.
Yeah. Well, okay, so it's sort of like... The allure of university is to be like, you're going to elevate your social status. You're going to go from, like, the sad middle class to lower upper class.
I don't think that's the allure for a lot of people.
I think that's the presupposition. Do you want to work fast food?
That's what your parents are saying, yeah. Well, but when you're that young, you're just, you're so idealistic and whatnot. But
that's the promise. Like, that's the idea. Like, you'll make money. You'll do well. You'll be respected.
I don't know if that's the promise anymore, but, like, it's more like I get to work with horses if I want to be a vet or something. When you're that young, you almost don't look into the future. Well, I didn't, because I'm a moron. But I know a lot of other morons. It's just more idealistic kind of stuff. Or, like, if it purely was about money, half the fields wouldn't exist, Dude, I've met a lot of 18-year-old MBAs. Like, it's like, really? That's what you're going to do? Yep. And then I'm going to article, or I'm going to, like, go get an internship somewhere. Yeah, well, that's what. But they're not all the MBAs. But, all the guys in, like, English lit or...
Isn't that just... Like,
I'm sure they're not, I'm here to, like, raise my social class and climb the corporate ladder. Like,
I think it's implicit, dude. I think Like, you don't want to be poor. You don't want to be lowbrow. You want to be learned.
I don't think a lot of 18-year-olds are mature enough. Some do, for sure. But I don't think a lot, the ones that, like, I'm going in to make money. Sure, they're going for MBAs and stuff, right? They're going for, like, hard stuff. No, not saying difficult, but, like, not the fluff.
Yeah.
Right? But all the people in the fluff fields, they're probably just doing it because their parents told them to, or
I don't know if that's the case. Like, if you'd be like, why are you going to university? To an average 18 or 19-year-old, even for the past, 20 years, they'd be like, so I don't end up fucking poor, so I can get a job, so I can have a degree. And it's not just economic stability. Or, like, it's the vetting. It's like this weird...
I think that's just that rationale, yes. A lot, probably yes. But I think a lot of people would feel embarrassed giving that answer.
But I think they know it. I think they're like, yeah, I'm going to university so I don't end up poor.
I don't want to be a shitty poor person.
Yeah.
No, that's not. No, people would feel ashamed to say that. I would.
Shame's dead, dude.
All right, maybe.
I don't,
I'm old. Maybe I'm out of touch. But I think a lot of people go there for more idealistic.
really? They're
reasons.
like, I'm going to.
I want to save the world.
I'm gonna.
I want to heal people.
I'm gonna make the world a better place.
Is that so foreign to you?
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't recognize optimism if it fucking slapped me.
Well, nowadays, I don't know what. Young person might answer completely differently now, yes. But when I was going to school, then people wouldn't say that at all. They would make fun of you if you said, because I don't want to be a poor person.
Well, I'd be like, what happens if you stop right now? If you stop going to university, what happens? They're like, oh, all my student loans for nothing. And then what? Well, I guess I'd go work a job that doesn't require a master's in home economic, like whatever fucking garbage they're learning. They're like, oh, this is literature. It's like, dude, no one.
Beyonce studies.
I know everything about Taylor Swift. I found when I moved out here, I was very aware of class and wealth because I'd never seen such wealth.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially if you go downtown.
Yeah. And you'd see some very expensive cars and some very rich people. And I was always very aware of it at first.
Well, sort of, the money thing, but I also know a lot of people that moved up here that didn't go to school who made a shit ton of money as well, you know, because of the oil industry.
Do people still go out survey?
Yeah, surveying, roughnecking.
Do you have any like fourth or fifth cousins that like, oh, always coming up? Like,
I don't know
they
any
care?
of my fourth, fifth, third cousins.
No?
I have enough first cousins. I have over 100 first cousins, I think.
Jesus. We'll never get rid of the Newfies at this rate. Too many.
But yeah, a bunch of them came up for roughnecking.
So like there was a downturn, and then it seems like they all just went home.
There's some are still up here. I mean, you can't. Roughnecking is not something you can do forever, right? That's a young man's job.
Surveying.
Then you go into trying to move another stuff. Maybe drive a water truck or.
Yeah. Hey, you can do that till you're fucking dead, dude. Those roads will get you eventually, though.
But yeah, class is definitely a thing. Growing up back home, like my mom even told me just the other day, when I was a kid and we were growing up, she was a very young mother. I think she was 20 and she had 3 kids.
Yeah.
And of course my dad fucked off because he's an asshole. And but she said to me just, I think last month, she's like, yeah, we were poor. I didn't realize it at the time, but like we were poor. Like, back then she didn't think it was because everyone was relatively the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she wasn't the only, 20-year-old living in a basement suite.
Yeah. With 3 kids.
3 youngsters.
Yeah.
All sleeping in the same room.
Yeah. They're like, it was average subsistence.
Like work, but
Commonplace subsistence. There we go.
money went a lot farther back then too, right?
Yeah.
She worked as a waitress in a illegal, above a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
They were just gambling or something.
The only Chinese restaurant in all of Well, how many Chinese people just show up in Newfoundland to gamble?
I don't think it's people are coming there for gambling. I think it's more that, a lot of Chinese people, dude.
They got the bug, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they,
Yeah. Well, it's how they socialize. It's just like they don't have
drinking and gambling.
Yeah, they don't have a pint and fucking throw darts. They
It's
just
probably 10 old Chinese guys in Newfoundland at the time, so they're all playing mahjong.
just fucking
And mom was bringing them drinks.
just ripping smokes like nonstop, dude. Like smoke. The Chinese. I've always admired the Chinese and the Japanese and how dedicated they were to smoking. Like they're fucking good at it, dude.
I thought. Didn't China advertise to try and kill off their people?
I don't.
Like they want people to smoke over there, so they reduce the population.
I think it's just cool. They're like,
and it's cool.
and it's cool. So you went to a bar, and some guy was selling lewd Garfield art.
Yes.
So you bought one that is of Garfield with a cup of presumably milk, but
With a white mustache.
and it says "Got cum?" question mark.
Yes. Very
And-
very lewd Garfield arts.
So-
There was a row of artists.
Yeah.
It was a
Was he the lewdest?
it was at one of the many microbreweries. In the place now. Apparently
Yeah.
they don't do pubs anymore. Everywhere's a microbrewery. They had bands playing. It was all synth stuff, and they had a row of artists
Yeah.
selling their homemade arts kind of
Good.
thing. So like something you see at like a festival or
Yeah, like a farmer's market.
yeah.
Yeah. Got cum.
And yeah, the lewd Garfield guy. I wonder said, "I'm a sad slut,"
Yeah.
and all these Garfield arts. It was basically just pictures of Garfield taken from elsewhere with lewd phrases put on top.
How much did the guy weigh?
Probably more than me,
Like,
and he looked short too.
there's only two phenotypes that do that kind of shit. There's like
He's a nice fella.
the big fat boys, like the pushing 300, under 5'5", like they're done, or the rail thin, like spooky guys.
A
Like,
twink kind of fella.
yeah,
When I first saw it, I immediately thought, does Jim Davis know about this? Like, how can you sell this? Like, and it was charging $10 for a printout.
for a printout of his got cum.
Yeah, like for like a postcard size. Do people know what postcards are anymore? Are we that old yet?
Yeah. I don't know, like that's fucking weird. Like,
Well, I find a lot of the artsy types of people, it's always very sexual for some reason. It always involves rainbows and gender and
I don't know. There was like a 4chan post where somebody was like, "Yeah, I made this giant dragon." You see that?
no.
No, he spent weeks like making the dragon scales and like putting it in the art exhibit, and he's there late night like getting everything done, like sanding it down. He's just got this massive carving. And some guy came and like just made a sculpty, a very bad like clay figure of a dude like basically laying on the top of his head sucking his own dick.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, and he's just like, yeah, cool. Man, art school's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. Art nowadays, I mean, art communities,
Yeah.
it's I don't want to say a breeding ground, but like a collection,
There's a magnet.
right, for those types of people who want to express themselves and their individuality.
I'm just not into social taboos.
I'm different. We're all different, And yeah, social taboos and a lot of the queer stuff
Yeah.
today. It's all about, anything not normal and
I don't even know if things can be authentically queer anymore. Like, do you think there's tired old fucking like cross-dressers sitting around and be like, this is all derivative?
a lot of the art, that type of art stuff, like kitschy, kind of like gay.
Folk queer?
It's almost parody.
Yeah.
Like if you told me someone made this, like if I had to make it up myself,
Yeah.
just out of stereotypes and whatnot.
Yeah.
What if we have Garfield and it just says "got cum"?
I went to the 100 under 100 art show last weekend, and one entire section was just brightly like day glow colored vaginas and dicks intertwining.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like,
Did it have any craft behind it? Because that's the one thing I noticed about a lot of this. I went to a art gallery in Vancouver.
there was some art.
And a lot of it just seemed like, I don't know, pity, make work program for like poor rainbow people.
Yeah,
Because a lot of the art was not very good,
yeah. Most art isn't.
And, well, like you look at it, and well, I guess that's the thing about art, that fellow with the urinal.
Yeah,
Right? Oh, it's high art or whatever.
Yeah.
No, it's,
No.
there's a certain type of person, right?
yeah,
Like, but when I went to that art gallery in Vancouver, there was doodles like ripped out of a notebook, put into picture frames and put up on the wall, and they were terrible.
Yeah.
It's like I did better stuff in my notebooks in school.
Yeah.
When I was in school, and I was walking around the art gallery, and it's a big exhibit of all these.
But it wasn't on purpose.
It was terrible. I'm looking like, why is this up here? Is this a joke? Like I feel bad for this person. And then I go to the plaque that has the artist's name on it and stuff, and like blah 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 is an LGBT someone indigenous blah. I'm like, oh okay, now I get okay.
Do you think the reason why it fails to evoke anything in you is because you're not queer or indigenous enough?
Maybe. I mean,
do you think they
possibly? I just because I look at it in terms of craft.
They're like, no, but like it's Garfield drinking a cup of cum. Isn't that? Don't you get it?
No, I don't.
Don't you get it?
I mean, technically, I guess it's queer, quote unquote.
Anthropomorphic cat like fucking drinking cum and using maybe because it was like the 1990s. Like everybody did a milk ad.
Does that make it furry?
Yes. No, it's at the crossroads.
Yeah.
I remember fucking nice Irish lad, Super Eye Patch Wolf, YouTube did I
remember him.
Yeah, he did a like an hour-long video on Garfield fan projects, the depths to which it went, and like how absurd.
Some of those were cool though.
Yeah,
like some of those I don't want to say I get, but I enjoy.
Yeah,
I can appreciate.
But none of them had him drinking cum.
No, it's more just absurdist humor, kind of like 2000s Adult Swim sort of.
Yeah, no, it was like YouTube poop,
Yeah.
like 3-panel, like at the end, a vortex eats them all, like, or like a 5-minute skit on how John's actually a weird serial killer, like some.
No, I get that.
Somebody set up a fucking set of lights and planned out a shot to get that together, and this guy just size 14 impact font. God, come.
Shock value. I mean, maybe if you're young, I can see maybe that would be haha, like shocking, sort of, in an absurd kind of way. But I think I just have a general disdain for modern art in general, and so when you put the queer make work stuff over top of it, it just makes it seem even worse.
We call them lenses. We call them frames and lenses. Seen through a queer lens.
You see all these new, like the city, when they're spending their money on these sculptures and whatever else, and like, half it's junk.
It was really, I thought it was really weird. So like, when they're
like the Ring,
there was the fucking Ring, frames the Vista. Fuck, millions of dollars. Some German cocksucker, like just.
I think it was $7 million.
Yeah. And my buddy who's from Edmonton, we have a back and forth as to what is like a worse public art thing. Because he thinks the big chrome balls that they have in Edmonton, it's just a stack of chrome balls.
Immediately like that better.
Well, yes.
Immediately.
Infinitely. At least I can look at myself.
Yeah.
Like it's the blue, like they're like, oh, it's got a light fixture on the top.
Chrome
like
is cool.
Yeah. At least it's, dude, some Escher shit,
Yeah.
And
retro future kind of.
Yeah, I can look at it.
Age.
I can look at it and think of a real good painting. But like that thing, the hoop, my God. And it's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Airport Trail. No one lives there.
Yeah, whenever someone comes to Calgary and I'm with them, we drive by. Oh, that's the hoop right there. Like coming from the airport.
Fuck.
I'm like, what do you mean? That thing looks like a big Wi-Fi antenna. They had
So
at home.
embarrassing.
And they're like, what the hell is that thing? What does that do? It's like nothing. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. But we paid like millions of dollars for it. Like, why? Everyone's always so confused.
Dude, so the city spent, I don't know how many millions of dollars rebranding. With the cooperation of the Chamber of Commerce, they decided to rebrand Calgary's slogan.
Oh, yes, that's right. And so did Edmonton.
Yeah, because it used to be, it was like, feel the energy or something like.
Yeah, feel the energy, I think it was.
And to like, what is it, like blue sky or big sky country? Like,
I don't know what it is now. I know that Edmonton changed theirs.
Yeah.
They had the perfect one, City of Champions.
Yeah, dude, that's great.
Fucking Oilers, right?
Yeah. Remember when?
You know?
And then somebody Kijiji that the sign. They're like, yeah, come get the sign. $5.
And then Calgary changed their logo, and they spent millions on that too. It was any city project; they got to spend millions on it.
No, it was it was in cooperation with the Chamber of Commerce, which is presumably supposed to do something. I'm flabbergasted. So, also, our fair mayor won an award from municipal. Like, it's been running for like 80 or 100 years. I heard this on 660. I'm an old man. I drive around listening to fucking talk radio, and they're like, yeah, this, Canadian municipal magazine has been in print for over 80 years or 100 years, and they're like, our mayor of the year.
Is this when Nenshi won it?
This year.
Gondek?
Gondek won mayor of the year in Canada. This year.
Why?
You tell me. Was it the months and months without being able to use hot water or cold water?
Like, what is her legacy? If the only I can think of. I mean, granted, I don't follow it too closely, but I just like a couple of pipes burst, and we found out how in Alberta, the land of oil and pipelines,
Yeah.
we didn't have any pipes to replace our pipes with,
Yeah.
and we had to order them from America or something.
Yeah. Well, like, because they're like, yeah, we need, they're like, yeah, we got to set up a committee to overview this kind of stuff. And there was no, like, just one guy who was just like, I've been in charge of the water department. I've been saying this for 30 fucking years. Just do what I said. Fuck that pipe. Let's make a new one. It's running in through here.
I bet there was a guy like that.
Yeah, there absolutely was. And you know what?
Like, they're not going to let him talk to
Get him out. Get him out. His name's like, Kyle or like Saul or like
pushed him out years ago.
Yeah, George. Just a fucking old guy with a mustache. He's like real. They got him tucked away in some office somewhere because he, said the word that's gay. And they're like, fuck, he's been here for like 20 years. We can't.
I don't know.
He's like, well, he completed his training, so we can't just like get rid of him. And he's just like, well, put him over here. We'll keep him out of the way.
A lot of art nowadays, you kind of can say that, can you?
I don't know. I've had.
I just think that's funny. Like, I go up and look at it, I'm like, man, that's gay. And the other people are like, yes, isn't it awesome? It's
like, no, like in the 90s sense of the word, I don't like this.
like lame.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean actually homosexual.
No, so what I've had to do in order to like tiptoe around normies is anytime in my mind I replace the word gay with cringe, and it accomplishes the same thing.
Well, that's kind of what it meant back then anyway.
Yeah,
we didn't really,
Yeah.
we didn't use it to mean like homosexual or anything.
Yeah, it's just bad. Dude,
It's kind of like the opposite of what the word gay means. It's not fun. It's lame.
I was watching
not happy.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and like they beat a knight or something like that, and they turn to one another and they hug each other like, oh, thank God we're alive. And then immediately they back up and they're like, oh, fag.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is exactly how I would assume a teenage boy in 1993 would behave.
Oh, totally, definitely.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, we got to get rid of that. That's basically like, that's some Huck Finn shit, dude. You can't.
I don't know if it's that bad, but it's close.
Turn to page 93, read third paragraph, second word. No, it struck me that there was a earnestness to it that, couldn't be, it would have to be contextualized today. Like, they were like, well, we need to sit down and talk about when Bill and Ted hugged each other.
It's not made for modern audiences.
Yeah, they got to deconstruct this. It was like,
They have a warning at the front of it.
Yeah, it's just two guys. They're best friends. They're thankful they're alive. They hugged each other, and they're like, that's too intimate for me, my friend.
Well, is the word fag even that bad? I mean, it's, if you put the hard T on the end, I think that's a lot worse.
It's just faggot.
That's considered a lot worse,
It's
I think.
so much more satisfying to say, though. It's so much.
That's the new F word, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. When someone says the F word.
You can just say fuck all day, but you can't say.
Well, definitely.
Okay. So I've had to replace gay with cringe. I've had to. I'm not letting go of retarded, though.
neither am I.
Cold dead hands, dude. It's gonna be like my
Totally.
Yeah, retard's my Second Amendment. Like, it's just I'm not letting it go. And somebody's like, "You can't say that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm kind of retarded. I can say it." You have to like appease these people, and they're like, "You're not retarded." I'm like, "Well, thank you. I appreciate it, but."
I have a sister has severe mental handicap,
Yeah.
and yeah, like my mom says it around her, kind of thing, because it doesn't mean like
No.
I would never say it.
Yeah. No,
in regards to someone with
my mother would use the medical term.
mental handicap or any
No.
kind, right? Like
No,
never.
like the old scale. The French scale.
Yeah, what's that?
Mongoloid.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
That's like that looped back around to being like, remember if you pushed remember like skating magazines, if you pushed opposite from your main leg, or if you had your foot by your rear truck instead of the front, they call it like dog style, but it's like
I thought it was just goofy.
called Mongo.
Oh, okay. Well, all those words, they all come from
Yeah.
idiot and moron. And
Yeah, just guys being dudes.
they're all like, terms to mean.
I'm never letting go of retarded though. It's just I
Neither am
I
I.
need it. It just encapsulates too much.
It's a different word now. It means something else.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude,
I would never say it to describe someone.
I knew that like there was a moment where I was like, oh, it's over.
What's over?
It was like when they had to redub I believe it was the Black Eyed Peas, the Let's Get Retarded in here with Let's Get It Started in here so that they could play it on the radio. And someone's like, no, that
was the Black Eyed Peas, yes.
yeah, it was just like, no, that's too much. That's too far. You can't say that on the radio. And I'm like, it's fucking mid 2000s. Like, what do you mean?
I think the R word is coming back.
Yeah,
I think it's coming back.
we're gonna fucking take it back.
Well,
Is Trump gonna fucking give us our words back?
I think it's kind of coming back. I mean, people freely say it all the time on YouTube and everything else.
Yeah.
Because I think people are finally fed up. And out of all the words, I mean, come on, like
Yeah. So
like when I say something's dumb, I don't mean like they can't speak. Like
yeah.
the word is evolved. It's got new meanings. Right?
I feel like, but if you use like more specific language, it becomes much more mean.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. You'd be like, you can't say that. Oh, what I meant to say is that your intellectual faculties are subpar.
You're a moron. Dude, I've had people come at me about saying the word crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't handle it. There's no way.
It's like, you're lucky I didn't say retarded, because that's what I wanted to say.
Dude, that's like gaslighting 101.
Like, seriously, I've had people wag their fingers at me about saying crazy. We don't say that around here.
Like, says who? Yeah.
Like, Mrs., you're crazy.
Hey, you don't have a reasonable...
And it was a Mrs.
So you're the only friend that I have that has had to take, my other buddy has had to take mandated professional training as part of his vocation.
You mean like diversity training?
Sensitivity as well. Ways of knowing and learning or
Oh,
something.
of course.
Like that. Yeah,
if you're part of any legal anything.
yeah, they were like, and a bunch of the lawyers like sued to like get it out. They're just like, this is political. We can't have that. And they're just like, no, it's not. It's not.
It's not political.
It's not political.
It's just about being nice.
don't you want to learn about indigenous people? How does that make me a better lawyer? And they're like, doesn't it make you a better lawyer to know about
It's all Mott and Bailey, man.
indigenous ways of knowing? I'm just like, no, it doesn't.
As a historical, esoteric, dipping into folklore kind of thing, I find that stuff fascinating, actually. Like, it's awesome learning about that kind of stuff, but it doesn't mean that I should have to give it any sort of credence, or like to treat it with like utmost respect and like these sacred beliefs about how the rain works.
Like, just that phrase is so fucking mind-boggling. Like, ways of knowing.
Doesn't that very phrase implies that it's
there's some other.
It's outside. It's
Yeah. They're like, it transcends logic.
oh, it's queer.
It's queer knowing.
Yeah, it actually is. Yeah,
It's the Indian version of getting cum.
'cause it's not normal.
It's just like a ghost bear.
I think it's fascinating learning, the cultural traditions and whatnot, and how they came about that, and you can, imagine it, and it's fascinating.
I guess.
It's wonderful, but it doesn't mean like I have to like if someone wants to come up and like, oh, we want to do it this way, like that's kind of a waste of time. Can we not? Can we,
don't you feel better when you've done a land acknowledgement before you have your speech?
No.
Dude, I remember something that I thought was, remember when there was some political thing happening, and Smith was here in Calgary unveiling a new statue. It's this fucking statue of Churchill. And I think that same week they tore one down in London.
Lovely.
They're just like, we fucking hate this guy. They're like, well, Churchill had a lot of fucking problems, but not for the reason that you think. Like, he actually kind of sort of fucking betrayed you, but like, okay.
So are we going to do dowsing rods now? Because that's a way of knowing.
It's a way of, it's a manner of inference.
I don't know. I grew up in a Catholic school.
Yeah.
I was taught by nuns.
Yeah.
And they had certain ways of knowing.
It's called the Bible. Hello.
And the meter stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Corporal punishment.
That was your way of knowing. That was your way of learning.
Right. I was getting taught.
Yeah.
And the same kind of people who pay lip service to, these different ways of knowing, and that they deserve the utmost respect. If I came at them with dowsing rods or, Catholic ways of knowing, they'd be the same people who, they'd scoff at me.
Which is interesting, because like the Newfies have more of an oral tradition than any other peoples in Canada, I think.
Musically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, not just that. Like, you didn't have TV till what, 1960, 70?
My mom grew up in a house without electricity.
Yeah.
She and her 14 brothers and sisters used to have to bring hot rocks from the wood stove to bed with them so they didn't freeze to death in the winter.
My mom bathed in a river.
Right? Like, it's it's crazy, right? Of course they sing songs. Like, Great Big Sea, all their big hits, they never wrote them.
Yeah, it was just their shanties.
Nobody knows who wrote them.
Yeah.
They're that old. Lukey's Boat.
Yeah.
And Eyes to Buy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so like, I wonder why that's not as protected.
What?
Like, why do people not care as much about Newfie culture and identity?
Because it's a joke, and we're also it's because we're colonists.
Like,
Literally,
there's no tribes in fucking Newfoundland.
No, literally, we were the first. Like, they came over here first and settled in Newfoundland. Like, this is ours.
It was contested land. The Vikings had a fucking go over. Like, come on.
Well, it was very contested. The French were over there.
Yeah. Dude, like, that's...
We killed all our native people.
Everyone owns Jerusalem, but really, we all know it's Rome's. You know what I mean? Like, so who does it really belong to? It belongs to whoever can fucking keep it.
I don't think... In the type of people who pay lip service to, different ways of knowing and that kind of stuff, there's no way in hell they're ever gonna, a bunch of white guys from Newfoundland be like, oh, we're important too, right? And like,
but they are. That's the thing. If you use the Garfield cum lens,
if you use the same logic,
like,
but it's not logic. It's not about logic. It's about power structures, and it's about
who's more disempowered than a bunch of Newfies. Realistically, you've had two influences on the country. One is Rex Murphy. Like, CBC is going to get defunded. The Newfie power structure will crumble. It's gone. It's gone. No one will ever see another Newfie comic again.
No, we still got a big monopoly on, like, CBC comedy and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, CBC is kind of dying now anyway, but...
Yeah, it's going to get defunded. It's going to get...
But all the people like This Hour's 22 Minutes, Rick Mercer, all those fellas, they're all Newfies, right?
Yeah. And like that, both of the ladies were Newfies.
Oh, yes.
fucking hilarious.
Those were awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
But they can't care about, because we're the bad guy. Well, not really the bad guy, but
Aren't they? Like, they're not. There's not a fucking... If I just snatched up a Canadian and be like, tell me about Newfoundland, they'd be like,
they work hard, they're friendly, they can drink.
yeah. But, like, would they be like, they're secretly kind of sort of destroying the country? Like, no, like...
No, not that. But that's not the type of person who said gives lip service to the different ways of knowing and is, social justice-y kind of stuff and the land acknowledgements, and the people who buy into that, like, truly buy into it. A lot of them are just faking it,
Yeah.
But the people who truly buy into that, they see us as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? Well, not us. I mean, just like Westerners in general.
Okay, so the French people in Quebec...
I think they'd give more credence to the French. I mean...
Yeah. Like, think about how they... Now, granted, they had a prime minister to fucking set this all up for them. But it said these are unique people. They're special, and they need to be protected, and they need to have separate and special rights in the fucking charter. That's how important and unique and special they are. I guess Newfoundland has never had an or else. Do you know what I mean?
What are we going to do?
Quebec's like, we're just gonna leave. We're gonna leave. We're gonna go. Like,
Oh, go on.
yeah. Like, what would happen? So, what does an independent Newfoundland look like? Wouldn't it be awesome?
We'll join the States.
Yeah, probably. You'd be. Oh, there's no way. Do you think the average Newfie resents the idea of being?
We got oil.
Oh, okay. So that reminds me of a bunch of people started getting very bristly about. They're like, "Did you see what Trump said? You see what Trump said?" It's like, "No, I didn't. What did he say?" And they're like, "He told Trudeau that if Canada can't be a country on its own without fucking ripping
Make
out
it the 51st state?
yeah." And then people are like, "Ugh,
How dare he?
ugh." I'm just like, "Well, what are you?" Your own prime minister says you're a post-national state, and that's the same way that I'm like, well, what the fuck goes in the cultural tent if we're overseas? Like, what do we put in the tent? Like, what's us? So, do you know anyone that was like? Because I know there's at least a couple people that would be like, absolutely not. There's no way Canada gets annexed. Like, dude, it's the start of Fallout, dude. Like,
There's no way.
yeah.
No way, dude.
Okay, so you have a country who's mineral rich.
BC would leave.
Well, fuck them. They can try.
It was like Quebec leaving, right? It's like, where are you going to go? Good luck, buddy.
Well,
We'll invade the next day.
yeah, dude. Well, I think Alberta would be pretty hard to fucking occupy. But like most large referendums, again, it's just like, what holds these people together? What makes them resent the idea of joining the empire? Do you know what I mean?
The U.S., you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't want to join the U.S. Just for...
There's snow removal.
we got better snow removal
Yeah.
here. But they also have a different system of government that the federal isn't as hands-on as ours are,
Yeah.
right? So it's...
I think that'd be kind of nice, wouldn't it?
Honestly, we'd all have to join as different states.
Yeah.
All the provinces.
Well, what if we were like a protectorate?
But I think just in general, people have such a, I don't want to say disdain, but a love of how we're not the U.S., right? Because maybe, I don't know what it's like now, but, worldwide, we have a reputation.
Uh-huh.
And, people used to
Do we?
Oh, definitely, man.
Now?
Now probably a little bit, might have gone down a little bit. But, Americans... They put Canadian patches on their bags when they travel to masquerade as Canadians.
Yeah, that's because
they'd rather be seen as Canadian, because people
target Americans because they know they're rich.
and people around the world treat, they'll see Canada. I'm like, oh, you're Canadian. Oh, okay. Right as like
See,
the loud, boisterous, ignorant American,
Yeah,
right?
but they fucking resent them. And it's just like, dude, why do you hate Americans? Like, they're fucking losers.
Who, Americans?
No, people who hate Americans.
I think that a lot of places in the world have a good reason to hate America.
What the fucking... The U.S. government is very different from America.
Yeah, but America's a big place, right? It's a massive place, and there's a lot of different types of people in America, right? And they're famous worldwide for being obnoxious, and loud.
Yeah. American. But like
when you say that, American. Whereas Canada, you think, oh, you're Canadian. Oh, okay. You probably think you're polite and friendly and not going to cause any trouble. Whereas you got people like, is Johnny Somali American?
he is.
Oh, surprise.
He's from Arizona.
Surprise, yeah.
He's from Arizona, dude. Yeah. You know how you look at like a Filipino? That's how I think the world looks at Canada.
What?
Okay. So there's tiers of Asians, and you know it. Right?
What's the mean? Filipino is the Mexico of Asia?
And yeah, there's a whole pecking order.
Well, amongst themselves even, yeah.
Yeah, well, like the Chinese think they're on top, but the Japanese are able... Like, Japan's on top, right, in terms of the hierarchy, because they look down on everyone. Right?
So, I think China looks down on a lot as well.
Well, just bring up Manchuria and see what they fucking say. Total Hong victory.
When I look at, if I meet someone from the Philippines, I'm thinking generally really polite.
Yes.
Really friendly.
Harmless.
Probably comes from a big family.
Yeah.
Very family oriented. Probably religious.
Christian as shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super religious. Their men act really effeminate for some reason.
Yeah, they have affectations.
Yeah. But generally all super chill dudes.
Super cool.
Right?
But, and somebody's like, but then you set that beside a Vietnamese guy. Okay? Like, do we know any non-criminal Vietnamese people? We know like one. No, the crypto thing is technically illegal.
No. I had to go through them all, and I'm
we hang out with a bad...
I think all of them might have been in jail or in...
They all look like they probably have a knife, dude, for sure. Maybe like one or two.
Oh man, I made Sang angry one time.
Yeah.
Just as a joke. I had to cut something. And I was like, oh, I need something to cut this. Sang, you're Vietnamese. You got a knife, right? Hand it over. And I was just joking.
Yeah.
Right? And and it took him a second.
Yeah.
After he handed me a knife.
Of course he did.
Oh. Well, I was in his house though, I think, at the time. But he was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, what are you implying?
Hey.
Like, look, we all know what I'm implying. I'm saying that...
Just joking, bro. Just joking.
Yeah, so Canada is the Filipino of the world. Where you're just kind of like, you make some assumptions about that guy. All right, that's a golden retriever.
Yeah, that's a good... golden retriever.
Let him go. Don't worry about him.
Generally harmless.
But the American, you're like, this could be a Rottweiler.
This could be anything.
This could be fucking anything.
Chihuahua, whatever.
Yeah. Dude, pay attention, dude. And so I think the reason why people like to pretend to be Canadian is so they can be like, I'm a golden retriever, just walking by. Don't mind me. And meanwhile, they're like, being Rottweilers.
Yeah, well, that's why they do it, right? They get treated better.
Yeah.
I
think it's weird for an American. Like, I hate the Americans that are ashamed to be Americans.
I don't think you should be ashamed of it. It's just... Because America's friggin' awesome.
It's fucking amazing.
Country, right?
Yeah. It's got its problems.
I mean, yeah, what your government got going on is a different thing, And hey, I don't work at the CIA.
Do you sometimes feel ashamed to be Canadian? No?
No, never.
You've not felt ashamed once in the past 8 years?
I can be ashamed for my country. Kind of like, oh God, what are we doing?
Dude, we've got
Jesus Christ.
Like, everybody wants him gone. Everyone, but no one can stop him. He is rubbing his balls on all of Canada, and nobody can do a fucking thing. Nobody can stop him.
But as a country, I don't think I'd be anywhere else in the world, You know, where are you from? And I wouldn't like, oh, Canada, kind of.
I'm from Alberta.
Canada.
Where are you from? I'm from
I don't think I'd be
Alberta.
ashamed in that way or embarrassed to say I'm from Canada.
I think most people.
I think Canada's pretty friggin' awesome. What we got going, or you know, if you look at the whole of it.
What is the whole of it?
You know how we started and all the different peoples here and like. What we've got going on, and we've got a good reputation.
What's going in the tent?
It's
dude?
kind of there's been a fella with funny socks pouring it all in the toilet recently, but
No, but it's that is Canada being forced to examine itself. Dude, how many people think about?
it's not even examining ourselves. It's just that he's throwing shit all over it. You know, and I don't think people like that. Really, like stop throwing shit everywhere. Like,
But then they go like, well, why can't we stop them? They're like, well, you got to understand the parliamentary system, blah blah blah. And it's like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? The only way
they voted him in.
Yeah, they voted for him, and like that's the saddest part. They voted for him twice. He didn't even have legal weed the second time, dude. He just had the what is to be done about these fucking non-vaccine takers.
Yeah, the second time was that's why he called that election.
Yeah,
because it was a brilliant move.
yeah, he's a great politician.
Absolute brilliant move.
Amazing politician.
I'm going to set my other 4 years right now because
Yeah.
he knew he was going to win.
Yeah,
You know, everyone's shit baked, washing their groceries.
it's because the Conservatives had Aaron O'Toole. Like that guy's fucking two-ply, dude. Like he's.
And the general idea of the people across the country at that time, they weren't, because most people were afraid. You didn't know what was going on. Is the world going to end?
Yeah.
And the one party that was like, all right, guys, we're going to lock it down. We're going to make it all super safe, and we're going to, you know, like
Do literally everything, or that everybody else.
all
is
these
doing.
promises,
Yeah.
you know, kind of thing. Where
Here's free money, stay home.
yeah, and the other guy was like, well, what is this? This is ridiculous. Like,
I also believe this.
you know,
But more.
but not as much, right? Yeah, exactly. That's all it was, right? All right, cool. You're in, and turns out that was a massive mistake, and now we're stuck with this fella.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just everything's going in the dumpster now, and like,
Do you think Americans felt that way about Biden for the past like 6 months?
2020.
Yeah. This past year.
Oh, this past year, I don't think. I think so much people are fed up.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump got elected.
But were they embarrassed that they voted for Biden 4 years
I
ago?
don't think they're embarrassed because 4 years ago he was a different man.
Was he?
You know, dude, bring up him talking 4 years ago. Versus
Yeah, but
now.
the only clip that they have of him talking, he's juiced to the gills on fucking some. Like they didn't give him the fucking Special K shot before he
dude,
fucking.
recent Biden was scary.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, is this guy running the country? Someone help this man. Like, I felt bad for him.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you think Trump represents a resurgence, or are people going to get cucked?
what do you mean?
Well, there's been a lot of wins getting delivered culturally in the past. Well, AOC took her pronouns out of her bio, dude. Like, we're so back. We're so back.
I think
we can't stop winning.
I think that is a good analogy, though.
Yeah.
Her doing that is actually a tremendous metaphor.
It's not.
I think it is.
No. Having a guy who was...
As a barometer, if she's willing to do it.
No, but like she's never... Like, it just means that it's no longer popular. But it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
she doesn't believe in pronouns.
Oh, no, I'm not saying what she thinks.
Yeah.
But the fact that it shows that it's no longer popular, right? Like that's no longer, the wind is no longer blowing that way where everyone's like, get on board. Let's do all this one thing. Come on, everybody. If you don't get on this ship, you're going to be left behind. Where all of a sudden that ship's turned around like, get off. Everyone go back. We fucked up.
So like I'm always haunted by Paul Joseph Watson. Like he's just like right wing's the new punk.
Did you imagine your shock?
Yeah. Imagine my shock. Like 2000 what 12?
He said
14?
that. He said that a long time ago.
2008,
but it's
2012.
actually kind of coming to fruition now. I don't know.
Yeah.
What, depends what kind of punk you mean.
But he was like, well, basically counterculture. Anything that is like when the left wing is winning, it's fucking miserable.
I don't know if it's counter. It's more like they became like lame. Like the liberals or sorry, the Democrats or whatever. They became like the kindergarten teacher wagging the finger at you.
Yeah.
and no one wants to get preached to. Like, you're not cool. This is lame. Like,
Yeah. This is gay.
yeah,
It's gay.
like, it's not fun. You know, it's all censorious, finger waggy, and all this stuff. And they managed to let the Republican Party become the fun party, which is crazy.
There was like some Latino chick running for like a House of Representatives, or like running for, yeah, the House, and she was just like putting out these ads with her with the fucking like M16, just being like, "Stop being such a faggot." And I'm like,
Damn.
this is awesome, dude. It's her just like running and just being like, "Yeah, bet you can't run 5 miles, fatty." Like,
Well, that's what I mean.
it's like, dude, this is,
I think it's one of the biggest failures I've ever seen in my lifetime of a political party to lose. Like, they used to be the party of fun. They used to be the party of freedom. Used to be the party of do what you want, say what you want, all that kind of stuff. And to have that 180 shift and to lose that I'm shocked. It's the biggest failure I've ever seen of a party in my lifetime.
would you call yourself a 1990s liberal?
Definitely.
I think for a long time I was too.
Like, my values haven't changed at all.
Well, I think that there's because that was cope. Like, they'd be like, yeah, that was also hope for the future. The building wasn't on fire.
Yeah, optimism.
Yeah, there was no, Rome wasn't being sacked at the time, dude. Like, there's some things that need to be put in order. Like in 1997, 98, would you ever be able to answer the question? Like, just ask yourself the question, like, is there such thing as degeneracy?
Definitely.
Like, it exists. Like, is it bad?
Something could be, well, do you mean like the 4chan definition of degenerate?
I mean,
Or like-
yours, dude. As a 1990s liberal. Like, is there such thing as degeneracy?
You could see something about, like, you know, the social norms and morals of society, you know, degenerating,
Yeah.
you know, going down a bad path, or, yeah, definitely, or corrupting, or losing its way.
Yeah. Mouse Utopia has a cutoff point of no return, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, definitely.
as an allegory, you know, that is reproducible. A reproducible allegory, we'll call it. It gets weird. Gets real fucking weird, dude. Like, mice turn gay, they stop eating, or they eat too much. Like, they get weird and isolated. They stay in their house, little hidey holes. Like, population completely collapses. Like, weird things fucking happen to mice when they don't have problems. Like, it's weird. So now our problem is how shitty things, like, is that the key, like, hard times making good men. Like, it's quaint, but, like, dude, I don't want to make good times, dude. I just want to be left alone. Like, fuck these people. Just fucking often, like, in the woods, dude. Like,
Do you think we're in the make hard men?
yeah, I think we're on the way. Like, we're in hard times. Like, we are hard timing. You know, like, are we making good men?
There's some hope there, but it's also, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but also, too, like, with any social movement with young people, you don't want to go off the deep end in either direction. You know what I mean?
I kind of do.
And become a groiper or whatever. Or,
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, but, like, how
you
much?
know, or a debate bro. Or
What do you know about Fuentes? Like, what do you know about him? Like, I know that anybody who knows who he is hip. Like, knows things about the internet.
He's annoying. That's all I know.
Hella annoying. Super gay. Probably sucked Destiny's dick.
I don't even care about that stuff. It's just,
Well, it is when you say you're a white ethno-nationalist Christian. Like, yes.
I think
Fuentes.
he's almost kind of a scam. You know,
He's
like
a grifter. No, he believes, dude. He believes. There's no way.
Huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the sense that, like, maybe you believe you're Dr. Robotnik and you're just like, this is what I do. I kill furry animals. Like,
I think if you know that your job is to be like this super talking head agitator who, you know, start a Discord
yeah.
community, say these talking points, like, you could probably make an AI bot that would do the same thing. Like, oh, make me a Candace Owens, you know?
Like, but it's always just like under the surface, like on those right wing fringes. Like, I don't know if he
Yeah,
has
it's different levels. You got Alex Jones at the top.
Yeah.
Right.
Big Papa.
Big Papa. And then you go down, you got your what is it, Richard Spencer. But yeah, but then like the people like the, you know, Candace Owens, Fuentes, like even Sam Hyde a little bit, you know.
Candace Owens is off on her own.
Owen Benjamin.
Fuck. Fireside, buddy. Dude, and they all bump into each other and like always cause friction, have these problems. Like it's the right wing undercurrent. They're like, people think Joe Rogan is right wing, and like they have no fucking clue, dude.
No, not at all.
You know, like,
but also like if this is how you make money, you know, I got to take it with a bit of grain of salt. You know what I mean? And they're chasing after a certain audience, a certain type of, you know, like the people who frequent, you know, like,
I don't know. Does a band who like plays like,
you're playing the songs, playing the hits.
Yeah. So what's the difference between Smashing Pumpkins and Nickelback?
Really?
No, I mean really.
It's quite a bit different. They're from different places.
But let's say from a normie's perspective, not a appreciator.
Well, they probably think Smash Pumpkins are gay.
I think they do now.
When I was in high school, everyone thought they were gay.
No, not in my high school.
I had to kind of keep it secret.
I was like, yo, I'm into Billy Corgan. Like, no, they were not gay.
The only fella I traded Smashing Pumpkins bootlegs with was the only gay guy at school.
Oh, fuck.
But yeah, certain bands. I was really into Bjork. I had to keep that a secret.
I would still keep that a secret.
All
but
right.
she is amazing. She is amazing.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, Milo's in that list somewhere.
Yeah. What happened to Milo's like the fifth Beatle, dude. What's going on with that guy? And he's kind of like, he just bubbles up and then disappears again. Like, racist.
I don't even know what that word means anymore.
You have to confront it. You have to look deep inside and just be like, yep, that's me, the most racist man alive.
Oh, God, no.
Yes, embrace it.
No.
Dude.
Quite the opposite. Like I said earlier, I'm a 90s liberal.
Yes, but unfortunately, a 90s liberal is racist.
According to some people.
According
to this fella.
Dude, I can't believe, like, why do you buy, like, are you trying to understand them?
Yeah.
Like
He's talking about the books I have on my table here.
So you have a copy of How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. Yeah. The only time I hear that guy's name dropped is on the Glenn Lowry show. Glenn and...
Dude, he was hot. He was like...
Dude, he...
bestseller, #1 author, like right when BLM hit. That was the guy.
Yeah.
Right?
And now you notice in New York, so the Penny trial just concluded not guilty, and they're just like, we're gonna burn this motherfucker down. Like, dude, this is wild.
Now people are looking at this Ibram guy and like, yeah, maybe he's kind of a scam artist.
He's kind of a grifter, dude. Yeah,
kind of on that other end of the spectrum, kind of thing, right? Yeah. If you're not actively discriminating against certain skin groups, you're a racist. As ironic as that sounds, or paradoxical as that sounds, yeah. But yeah, I think he's a total nutter, but like his book is fascinating to read, and I can't believe that people actually read it and think it's...
Does he quote Karl Popper?
I'm not sure. I don't really remember much of it.
Oh.
It's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But like, I can't see myself sitting down to read these fucking books, dude.
I got you that White Fragility book.
Did
you read that?
No.
She's a grifter.
Is she?
Oh my God, yes. She's also a whore. Like, I mean, allegedly. But you should read it, man, because she is a racist. It's crazy. But she's like, do you know when you feel when a black person walks up towards you and you feel that immense fear and your throat closing up and you just...
Do you have a panic attack by black people?
You have a panic attack.
Yeah.
It's terrible when we feel that way. And it's like, what are you talking about? Missus? You're fucking crazy. Like,
yeah.
She is nuts, dude.
I don't know. Like, it's
like, no, I don't... Like, yeah, she is nuts. But she's one of the most brilliant grifters I've ever seen. She made absolute fortune. When COVID first hit in BLM, like, I think that was #1.
Yeah.
That White Fragility book. Everyone... It's crazy, man. Like, you should totally read it because she is mental.
I can't do it.
I cannot believe that got any sort of credence anywhere whatsoever.
Like, I have crazy good books sitting on my fucking shelf, and I'm looking at them like, oh, I should read that. Like, Like
read
I
this
picked
one.
up The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. I got to finish reading that. I got
I got the critical introduction to queer theory here. Generally, I don't buy books if they were written in the last 50 years. But with these new social movements that are really, really popular and seem to be melting people's brains, I definitely want to figure out what the hell's going on. I probably like this one the most, actually.
what is it?
The critical introduction to queer theory.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
pick a sentence.
Jim Carrey's Riddler, who prances around in his sparkly tiara and bright green leotard screaming, "Spank me," is much, much camper.
Then
That was it. It was just
that was the that was the sentence.
The Riddler's overtly queer behavior draws the audience's attention away from the homoerotic electricity between the heroes and invites the misreading that if the bad guy's gay, the good guys must be straight.
Wow.
Imagine analyzing the straight/gayness.
It's so fucking like that's so gross, dude. Like
It's like they're obsessed with that shit, man.
I bet
It's
that guy's
crazy.
got a Garfield got come fucking postcard.
He's probably that's who it's for, right? Oh, this has to do with sex. Everything's got to be about sex, right? Everything's about sex.
My identity.
Everything's about sex.
I don't know. People get that way about like this is about the Bible, isn't it? Like let's go. Oh man, it's about the Bible.
Oh, some people are like that too. They
Yeah.
interpret everything through the lens of the Bible.
You know,
right?
like during the times of trouble of the tribes of Jacob,
This is a
it is-
test.
it
He's
is said-
testing us.
It is said that the Edomites will enter many nations and steal their wealth and rebuke them. This is precisely what the Israelis are doing.
I just think it's fascinating because my brain definitely does not go there
No.
for anything, really. No, they think this shit is awesome. They love like picking apart everything to see how gay or not gay something is and who's gay and what's gay coded and what's not gay coded and what's normal and what's not. The more gay something is, the more awesomer it is. And
It's like amateur historians. They're like, oh, I'm really into the Battle of 948. I know everything about it. I know the total number of troops on the Saxon side. I know the total number of people, on the French side. Like, I know what the Franks were up to. I know what their coat of arms were. I know what the fucking weather was like that summer.
they're just gay nerds. They're nerds about being gay.
But like, then why is their curriculum circulating? Do you know what I mean? Like, why has it entered the cathedral?
Oh, geez, that goes way back. There's all kinds of theories about that
You
one.
want to talk about the Frankfurt School? You want to talk about
Because it's trendy. Anything like righteousness, if it fights the power, raised fist.
I think people. I think a lot
Feel
of,
like they're warriors, you know what I mean? We're rebels.
very few people pick up on the need to be righteous. Like, these people need to be righteous. They have no God.
We're saving the world.
Yeah,
you know?
dude.
Saving
like,
society by tearing it down.
I'm making the world a better place. This is what I went
Sorry,
to.
dismantling.
This is what I went to university for.
Yeah.
My queer studies. Not to be rich, although I'm gonna be rich.
No, they're not.
D'Angelo is. Ibrahim Kendi is.
In those fields, the people in those fields themselves will tell you you're not going to be rich. The arts are not where you go. Like when I was in school, people told me repeatedly, "Get the fuck out of the arts unless you want to be poor."
Did you watch Am I Racist yet?
No.
Dude. Yeah. The fucking the grift wheel is just spinning. Because Matt Walsh actually does a really good job where he keeps a running tally of all the money he spent to get these people in to talk. And you can kind of infer what they cost an hour. Like, you want Robin D'Angelo to show up and talk to you for an hour?
Oh god, fortune.
Yeah, 5-10 grand. Like, let's go.
Fortune. She's in demand though. That's the thing.
Yeah, but
Didn't he have a part on it where that lady, you can invite ladies over to have dinner and talk
Yeah.
about how you're all terrible people but that's kind of like a weird like catharsis or something that they have going on where, it's kind of like the flogging themselves.
self-flagellations.
You know,
They're Eastern Orthodox, like, racists.
No, it's more of like a secular religion, sort of.
Yeah, it is.
You know, there's blasphemy and the flocking themselves, and I'm not worthy.
We're all sinners before God.
You know,
God made
maybe
us.
you are. I got baptized.
No, you're full of original sin, just as we are all. You know.
Got that wiped out, buddy.
No, not strictly. You're still the inherited. Technically you were saved by Jesus, but you filthy Catholics don't recognize the importance of that. But
I'm going to heaven.
The
nun says I'm not, but
do you think Catholicism is gay now?
no, not at all.
Is it less gay than the modern, like, kind of Presbyterian like the American style Presbyterian, like, mega church?
Do you mean like lame or gay? Gay?
Like, lame.
Oh, super lame.
Super lame.
The big mega church stuff. That's all.
Like youth pastors and sing-alongs. I'm like, no, I want a liturgy, dude. I want fucking Latin. I want frankincense. I want procession. I want Eucharist. I want the fucking show. Okay? Like, we're in a holy place.
The ritual?
Things are happening. Like, this is a big deal.
I can appreciate the ritual.
Dude, I think it's
Big
way
time.
cooler.
But I also think the guy in the mega church with the big screens asking for all your money is...
Well, the prosperity gospel guys are a little different. I'm like your average churchgoer in some are pretty hardcore. Like most of the people I know that are religious are hardcore Catholics. I do know a proper Christian missionary guy who's doesn't strike you as like...
A lot of them hide it really well.
Yeah, but he's on that... I feel like the Catholic is more willing to do battle with his enemies. One does not tolerate evil. One destroys it. And the modern, like, kind of the progeny of Luther, like, they're just kind of like, no, like, it's between me and God. Like, I'll figure it out. Like, it kind of says here to maybe, turn the other cheek. And it's like, no, fucking crush them.
Not crusaders.
Crush them. They don't get it.
Well, when you're talking about religion, a lot of places in the world, it's kind of mental what's going on.
Right now, the Pope is like, let's get some women in here. Gays are okay with me.
Well, he's got to make it kind of trendy. I mean, there's
Does
not really...
he? I don't think that's what people want.
I bet that's what his marketing team is telling him.
No, I think that's what he thinks is best for the church. He's elite.
He doesn't want it to die out.
He's on the chair of fucking Peter, for God's sakes. He doesn't rely on a marketing team. He relies on his fucking...
Bernie does.
He can... That's just God talking to him in a different way. You don't understand.
That's how he rationalizes it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, we'll just ask a bunch of people and God will speak through them. But, like, I want a Catholic church that fucking, is righteous. And I don't believe these people are righteous anymore.
A lot of them know, because it's not socially acceptable anymore, man. They've been made the villain for ages, I mean, look at the fella down at Calgary City Hall with the guitar who shows up every lunchtime and plays songs and
That's
talks.
a same dude.
He does not get a lot of good press.
I know, he's fucking crazy. And you know what? All the other church people fucking hate him.
Exactly, right?
They hate him. And he's not stopping, dude. He's not going to stop. That was Pulowski for the longest time. That's what he was doing, too. Pulowski was a street preacher for the longest time.
Yeah, I don't want to be associated with...
See, people don't want to be seen in public with
exactly.
That. It's just like, dude, you want to find some people with faith, talk to a Polish person, dude. Like, the Catholic Church that we grew up with is very different. I mean, granted, it was in our elementary schools, for God's sakes, and we said the Lord's Prayer too, like we were, and it was a public school. This was not a St. Mary's. This was a public school. Like, I remember in grade 6, they're like, these two kids showed up and they're like, all right, kids, today we got some Jehovah Witnesses. And they're like, all right, do you want to step outside while we say the Lord's Prayer and sing the anthem? And they're like, off they'd go out into the hallway. We'd all sit there.
I felt bad for the ones. I live next door to a family of them, and they wouldn't celebrate Halloween or Christmas.
Yeah, and I was just like, and, you know, granted, not a strict, like, the old man was a Mason. You don't talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to do it. And I remember, like, just being like, that guy's a fucking loser. They're like, go stand in the hallway. Like, look, just pretend like everybody else. None of this matters. And then that's what a 10-year-old thinks of saying the Lord's Prayer and singing the anthem. Like, it's fucking weird.
Yeah.
You get old and you're just like, what? Singing the national anthem? This is fucking weird.
I think the anthem makes more sense than the prayer.
No, well, I think both make sense from the, like, what are we going to make the kids say every morning? But, like,
After Hail Marys?
No.
Really? We did
just
Hail Marys
just the
too.
Lord's Prayer. Non-denominational public school. So, just the Lord's Prayer for us.
It was a different time.
You know, and but I remember the Catholic Church as a serious institution.
Definitely a serious institution. I also remember we had a huge scandal when I was a youngster. Mount Cashel Orphanage. It's a boys' orphanage run by priests.
Go on.
They eventually had to tear the building down.
Really? Looking for bodies?
No, because the memories were too horrible
Oh.
to leave it standing.
So,
Let's just say there was a lot of abused boys.
yeah,
Kind of
any
thing.
foster home is going to abuse children. That's just like the rule.
Like, it was like bad.
Yeah.
And last I heard, like a bunch of years ago, they still haven't paid out after the settlement.
Yeah.
And the church back home is after going through some rough times, actually, probably because of all that, because they lost all their money losing in the courts. They had to sell off. They put the St. John's Basilica.
Oh, for sale?
Like, it's a historical site. It's like 500 years old or whatever. You know, like it's in the tourist books when you come over.
Yeah.
It looks like a castle.
It should be a UNESCO heritage
And there's
site,
a Remax sign out front. You know, it's like,
buy or lease, buddy.
someone buy it. Like, everyone's like, Jesus, someone please buy this. Only Tim Hortons buy it or something.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like just for the historical part of it. You know, so yeah, there's not very good reputation. But because that used to be back when I was young, when you think of conservative, you thought of stuffy, religious, you know, finger waggy, get in line, you know, do as I say, not as I do, sort of thing. Like, not cool, you know, not very punk, not very fun.
No.
You know.
Dude, like,
And that's what I was saying earlier. Now, like, that's what this seems like, you know, the lefty types are now. Like, they've turned into, like...
there's like 20 punk bands just talking about either shooting Reagan, hating Reagan, wanting to kill Reagan. Like, every punk band in the fucking 80s hated Ronald Reagan. It was cool to hate that man. It just became, like, the only ones, like, who's left from...
You can't have these song lyrics. You can't have a woman being that sexy. You can't have...
Yeah, who's
That was the religious right back then. Now it's like... You got these weird social justice lefty types. Like, oh, she can't be sexy. You know, you can't say that word. You can't...
Gamergate shows its face again,
You know?
dude.
It's weird, man. It's a bummer to me, because, I don't know.
I like sexy chicks, dude. It's great. You know, like, I don't want people to put a burqa on Chun-Li. You know, like, remember during Evo, they made Fudo change costumes?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think that was about?
You know exactly what it was about. It was too sexy.
But it's in the game. So, like, they're embarrassed
Yeah.
of their own product to be displayed publicly?
I think if it was a Japanese event, they wouldn't be. But if you're a Western event with Western sponsors and stuff,
Yeah.
they're terrified of that shit. I mean, maybe it's changing a bit now, hopefully, but like, you know how it was. Like, you can't have anything
Dude, there was a code of conduct went around.
cheesecake or too sexy or anything for the male gaze.
Dude, there was... Okay, so for context, the fighting game community somewhere along the line, and I believe it was when Mike Watson stopped playing. Wednesday Night Fights and Super Arcade disappeared. Because I have this theory that Mike Watson is the spirit animal of the FGC. He's a scumbag. He's just like all the other scumbags. He's a degenerate gambler, and he's got all these other things, but like, goddamn it, he's ours. Like, I knew it was actually over when they started talking about codes of conduct at a fighting game tournament. They're like, you better sign this code of conduct. This tournament abides by a code of conduct. And it's like, dude, like, and maybe at a Smash tournament, but this is
an effort to formalize the event, make it more corporate, more modern.
No, but it was like, I think it was Ultra David was like the one, like, he was the one that was pushing it.
That was the worst part. It was an independent body. It wasn't the tournament organizers. It was just a group of people.
I think we all know the group behind it. I think people that were part of that NorCal Mafia and people who were like liberal pussies, like were just like, you know what? It's very fashionable for us to be like, all attendants must respect pronouns. Like, it's like, yeah, like, well, what of like, don't be a dick, clause A, don't be a dick. Like, what of that doesn't cover whatever the fuck you're talking about? And they're like, no, but we've got to formalize it. It's to interpretation. People need to be instructed on how to not be a dick.
Well, the worst part was that they installed themselves as
the arbiters
as a governing body.
Yeah.
And expected all these tournaments to sign up to it. And it's like, who the hell are you guys, first of all? And if someone at my event doesn't, or if we breach this code of conduct that you guys came up with and I had no say in,
yeah,
why would I cede any sort of authority to you and accept your punishments? You're going to ban me from the circuit?
Yeah, it's just like,
who the hell are you guys?
Yeah, like if you don't, then we will be advising other people who have signed on to our code of conduct of the organizations that have not decided to also adopt this
and
code
encourage
of
sponsors and contact the sponsors and tell them not to work with you guys because you don't follow this code of conduct that we came up that you had no say in. It's like, guys, relax.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. That's the whole authoritarian finger waggy,
respect my pronouns.
Sort of like moral righteousness. Like, guys, relax. We're just playing games here. Like, just be chill. Like, can we just be chill?
Yeah. Can't we all be 90s liberals? Rule 1, don't be a dick. Subsection A. Like,
because when I was a punk, I played in punk bands in the 90s. And that was it. Don't be a dick. Let's be chill. I don't care what people do, really.
Yeah.
As long as you're not fucking with anyone. That used to be the hippie kind of thing to do. But now, you got the moral arbiters. Here's a list of words you're not allowed to have anyone say at your event. It's like, dude, I can't control.
Dude, who were all the Detroit guys again? What the fuck?
Do you remember at the Vancouver event?
Yeah.
We had an event, and some guy signed up as the Chinese word for dick. And he wasn't in his pool, and I got on the mic, and the whole day I was just screaming out, I'm looking for Dick. Where is Dick? Can Dick come here?
Nice.
Tell Dick to come to, because I'm waiting for Dick.
Does anyone see, I need Dick. I need Dick Pool A. Pool A, Dick, report to Pool A.
And I was screaming that out, and all these Chinese guys were laughing their asses off. And thankfully one of them came up. And
no, he's a traitor, dude.
No, I know, right? Because I don't speak Chinese, right?
Yeah.
But he came up and like, all right, thank you, bro. And I disqualified the Chinese slur for dick.
Nice. I mean, if you're going to fucking throw away your, if you're going to like no show, that's probably what you did.
But would that breach the code of conduct?
Absolutely.
Would I get...
Dude, his Smash GG account would be banned.
You know, like, no, would we get in trouble?
No.
Subjected people to that, you know?
Oh yeah.
I'd have to go in front of their board and have a hearing.
Would it be considered culture?
Fuck your hearing. Like,
Would it be considered culturally insensitive to not know another language?
saw a thing on the internet. This lady at work, her accent was too thick. I think it was in the UK, of course. Super thick accent. So people are asking her, like, hey, can you say that again? Like, I can't really understand that. Maybe we can work on that because, like, you're really hard to understand.
Yeah.
And
What kind of accent?
Brazilian?
Okay.
So I guess Portuguese.
Yeah.
And apparently that's racist. So
Really?
yeah, you can't ask her to repeat herself or say, sorry, I couldn't understand that. And like, it's like, guys, relax. Jesus Christ, just be cool. Like,
Dude, if you hear an old Scottish man, you can barely tell what the fuck they're saying.
I'm not saying you should go up to the lady, speak fucking English. You know, like she's trying, right?
Yeah.
But like, Jesus, my accent's bad sometimes, and some people can't understand me. Like when I talk to, Jesus, like when accents collide.
Yeah, or like Northern Europeans. I do not know this word.
Yeah, like when I try to talk to someone who English isn't their first language, I find I have trouble sometimes, and I have to like tear all the Newfie out of it, and like, don't use Newfie expressions and phrases and things, and
You gotta chat GPT your own.
sort of, yeah, like hello,
Say that again, but more formally.
yes, more formally.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's weird to be, because I remember you said one time you're like, I thought I'd be older before I was like an old man yelling at clouds. Like, but
I didn't realize it'd be so young.
Yeah, I didn't realize I'd get there so soon,
Yeah, to be out of touch.
or for nothing to make sense anymore. But like, I sense a optimism. My buddy and I have this kind of like back and forth. He's like, no, Trump's the man of destiny. He's like, he's the man of destiny. Like, think about all the things that had to happen to make Trump 2024 happen.
It was crazy.
Dude, he took a bullet, for fuck's sakes. Like, they tried to kill him.
If they had just let Bernie run, like we wouldn't, like,
Yeah?
Trump probably wouldn't even be here now. Like,
I don't know. And the world would be poorer for it, in my opinion. What do you think is going to happen to this, spirit when they get through 4 years of Trump and realize that, it was just like the other 4 years of Trump?
it might be big nothing burger.
Like, you've been winning and pissing people off, but, like, you haven't been doing anything. And they'll, like...
That deportation stuff is pretty crazy.
That guy's based. It's just like... Yeah, we don't have to break up families. Dude, the way he did that interview, that 60 Minutes interview, the clips from it, there's not an actor in the world with that kind of gravitas. There's not a one, dude.
I also love how blue collar he sounds.
Yeah. Because he's New York. Yeah, he's just like, you can be deported together.
Like, he doesn't sound like a politician who's never paid rent in their life or bought groceries ever. You know what I mean? He sounds like a real guy.
He's just like, I don't know, they were grilling him in Congress. He's just like, I fucking opened up a semi-trailer full of fucking immigrants. They were all fucking dead. I held a 14-year-old boy in my hands. I have an old, like, who are you? Like, that's what people want. They want somebody who actually gives a shit about something.
I don't get the whole... Like, they're coming at him with all these, like, appeals to emotion and stuff like that. And he's just sitting there like, the law is the law. Like, you can't have 20 million people in your country who aren't your countrymen.
Do you think that empathy is the greatest weakness of the West? Or is it what defines it?
Like compassion?
No, empathy.
No, not really. Because I think especially our governments and stuff, I don't think that's what they're operating on at all.
No, like, look at how you're, like, in terms of the church, the cathedral, where it's just like these appeals to authority actually carry, or appeals to emotion actually carry water. Right? So they're just like, are you going to tell this young boy that he has to go back? And somebody's just like, you got to go back. Like, remember he had that lawyer And they're like, there's a 14-year-old, like an 8-year-old boy being deported right now. And the lawyer guy was just like, womp, womp. And he's like, did you just say womp, womp? I was like, dude, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
I think our biggest weakness might be, I don't want to say like capitalism directly, but the incentive structures and the way we have our institutions set up.
Is it because women got to vote?
It allows this type of stuff to come in and to take over the institutions. This type of thinking, right? Because
no, I think I know grown men.
Because this is the stuff that gets prestige. This is the stuff that gets, it makes headway, and like everyone's got their brains rotted by it now.
No, but like I know, again, it's the same. It's the pitfall of the 90s liberal. To just be like, oh, we should just let them stay. And you're like, that's 20 million, right? And they're like, oh, but they've got families. Their children went to school. Who will take care of the children? And just another thing that's piled at the foot of this emotional appeal. And then you have this guy that they don't know how to fucking handle. He's just like, they can leave with them. Get the fuck out. You got to go back. And they're just like, what is this animal? Like that button that works with the average Westerner of, don't you have any sympathy for these people?
I think it's the same thing as the religious right from back in the day, because they see it as sort of, they'll see certain things, they have that disgust response to it. Like that's a sin. You can't do that, sort of. And nowadays,
I never honed in on the disgust response.
The super social justice-y types, they look at it kind of like, how dare you? You're a monster. I'm disgusted. You could even think that way. They don't allow any other type of critical thinking in there, or like, maybe the problem's bigger than that. Maybe there's other things going on, and like.
No, but I've seen. Like I've seen that ploy work on many. Like, oh, you don't understand how hard it is to be a trans indigenous person. And like, my life is so hard. You don't understand. You don't know how bad it is. Like, oh, I'm like, my ears are open. Like like, tell me how hard your life is. Like, yes.
But it's a selfish indulgence.
No, but their argument is from a perspective of empathy, which is like if somebody's just like, yeah, I can't afford to eat, and like,
that's terrible. I mean, it probably is rough stuff, but like,
but somebody's just like, then die.
I think,
and people are like, oh my god.
Well, no, it's terrible, but it's also the kind of people who brag about donating to charity. You know what I'm saying? But it's that self-satisfaction that look at me, that. I think our systems are very vulnerable to that sort of thing. Like, aren't I virtuous?
Look at my prestige.
But that's again back to the old church. Like, I'm the most blessed. I'm.
No, we used to give.
I have the least amount of sin.
No, we used to give to the church to do good works. Now the good works are, making sure trans homeless people have female shoes that are size 12. Like, you don't understand how hard it is to be homeless and trans. Like, you don't get it. Like,
no, I don't.
My organization is set up to help homeless trans people. And people are like, oh, like, you've been in those meetings where people are like, yeah, it's very important. It's very important. 0.0001%. Stop what you're doing. Fuck the pipes. Those don't even matter. Who needs water when there's a shoeless, homeless trans person? Like, if you want to make the argument that it's just this, like, pathological prestige and power seeking and, like, ego stroking, fine. But I think, okay, self-flagellation, but I do think there's the argument has to be made. They had to be bullied first. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they had
shamed.
Yes. They had to be emotionally manipulated to do it. And at some point, you know, like we're coming across shameless people and we're like, wait a second, this guy's fucking based. But like,
I don't even.
that's where
shameless.
that's where right-wing people are at. They're just like, yeah, this person that is immune to the dialectic is going to be our savior. You can.
I don't think it's even like immune to it. You can still recognize.
AOC took her pronouns out of her Twitter bio.
You can still be compassionate and
We're winning.
empathetic.
We're winning
for people in those types of situations, but also realize that there's bigger things at play here, and there's also other things to consider.
Yeah.
And just because someone cries, you know, doesn't mean they get their way, right? Like tough love
doesn't happen.
I don't mean to say that Trump's doing tough love.
attack their sponsors. Didn't agree to the code of conduct. You're like, you know, we have our own. They're like, no, but it's not this one.
Yeah, get on board.
You know, look, we're all doing it. Don't you want to?
Are you not part of our parish?
Don't you want to make a safe environment?
Yeah.
Safe?
But that's manipulative bullshit right there, right? Yeah.
Don't you want this for your attendees? It's like,
not from you though. Not from you though.
Yeah.
I don't trust you.
Yeah.
I don't know you. I don't trust you. Who the hell are you?
Yeah. So
Money match. Let's go.
Who's your main? Oh, you don't play. Oh, shocking. Shocking.
I think there's still compassion. I think you can still be compassionate. And if you're looking at the left versus right thing, I think a lot of right people are very compassionate, but it's just more. They're not as vindictive about it. They don't turn it into a war, you know, and they don't say if you don't agree with how you express your compassion, you know, you're evil, you know. That's what, isn't that the saying? The left thinks the right is evil, whereas the right thinks the left is just stupid.
And the right winger can completely understand how the left winger got to where they got to, for some reason.
Because they went to school.
They grew up a 90s liberal.
They grew up in a school that probably, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all the schools have that sort of viewpoint. So,
yeah, it's fucking disgusting when you think back about the things that you were taught and how long it took to unfuck. Like, I think public school is actually full of the worst people in terms of teachers. Like, look at who is selected to be a teacher. Like, look at the process that it takes to be a public school teacher. And there's no wonder why they're like...
I think the process is terrible.
Yeah, we're going to have a trans visibility day. And she's like, I'm here to learn. Like, what does that have to... No, we got to make them all feel loved. Like, we got to have special days for these people. And she's like, no, we don't.
Comes from a place of compassion.
Yeah.
We're not going to grade them anymore. We're going to pass everybody no matter what.
Don't you hate trans? Do you hate trans kids, young boy? You know? And somebody's like, no, I don't think, you know, girls or boys should be allowed in the girls' washrooms. Get the fuck out of school.
Well, when I went to school, it wasn't like that.
Well, you'd be beaten. You would be beaten
if I got found in the girls' washroom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was always it's weird. You look back, there's definitely...
But I think most of the people who are teachers, I think they're genuinely trying to be good people.
No, but but that's...
Unless their brains are rotted.
But that's what got us here, dude. People trying to be good people.
Mm-hmm. But then they go and have people...
A critical introduction to queer theory.
They go to university where they tell them how to be a good person is to get into all this stuff. When they should, you know, deconstruction is nonsense. They get their brains filled with, and this identity stuff where they put that above everything else. You know, the ultimate virtue is being from a marginalized identity. Must be protected at all costs, you know?
Don't you care about queer indigenous voices?
I mean, a little bit, sure. If they got something interesting to say.
Got cum?
You know, that's not interesting. I don't care about that.
Who's a sad slut?
You know?
That's actually a great phrase. I just don't... You know, honestly, I would have preferred that over got cum.
I'm almost thinking now, but it's the blowback nowadays is so crazy because they're bringing, you know, drag queens in kindergarten classes and all this stuff and the rainbow stuff and all the gender and identity stuff and this like fixation on race and identity, and like, let's train our children to fixate on race and identity and sexuality and stuff. It's like, guys, that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
You know, like, but to blow back, like, I'm almost now like, all right, bring prayers back.
Yeah.
You know, let's learn Latin again.
There must be like, people are like, oh, but maybe it's just, no, overcorrect like a motherfucker.
Yeah, let's dial
dude.
it back.
Yeah. Look, if they show up,
All right, rewind. We fucked up somewhere. Let's go back. Start over. Like,
Burke is back on the menu, boys.
You know?
Like, let's go. Let's go.
bring
Like,
back to Latin.
yep. Sorry, you know, it's the mother tongue. Like, let's get
Like,
back at her.
We fucked up somewhere along the way. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. We're not even failing kids anymore, and you pass, and like that.
My favorite.
I don't want kids to fixate on sexuality.
Yeah, my favorite person to watch wriggle over these problems is probably Bill Maher. Do you?
They're gonna say Bill Burr.
No, Bill Burr. He's going the Bill Maher route, where he was just like he's become a bit of a. Let me tell you what a cakewalk means. I was like, that's fascinating, Bill Burr. Why don't you fucking talk about sports or tell me a fucking joke, dude? Like, he's like, nah, we can't say cakewalk anymore. It's like,
What do you mean we?
yeah. Who the fuck? Like, don't preach to me, dude. I don't want to hear it.
That's what I find is so the assumption, the immediate assumption,
Yeah.
and the I don't want to say smug, but like self-assuredness.
Yeah. Why don't you get
Like,
back
we
to
can't say this. Like, wait, hold on a second. Like,
Yeah. Here's what you're here for. You're here to bitch about the, you know, whatever sports team you're a fan of, and you're here to tell me stories about the time you almost beat your girlfriend unconscious, Bill Burr, but didn't because you're a good man. You know, tell me about your struggles with, you know,
drinking and driving.
yeah. Tell me about your struggles with, like, oh, you know, I want to pet a puppy, but I can't. Like, yes, you can't. Sorry. Yes, that's a heavy weight to carry. Yes, we can all relate.
I mean, it's cool to let everyone know what a cakewalk originally was, and
Look, dude, for an hour?
but at the same time, if someone doesn't know about it, you can't be running up wagging fingers and like, you're a piece of shit.
Dude, I'm still going to say something's a cakewalk. Well,
know.
my mind has not changed. My behavior has not changed one bit. I'm going to use the word gay. I'm going to use the word retarded. I'm not budging. This is my Captain America speech. I plant my feet firmly.
Flip the chair around.
Yeah. Let me rap at you, kids. Justin Trudeau.
I had a kid. I had a guy in university do that to me. He was the guy who told me I could say the N-word.
Oh, you got the pass?
Sort of. He was cool, hip English prof, kind of thing. All the girls liked him. He was a young fella, and we were doing what was it? Old Jim.
Uh-huh.
I think it's Joseph Conrad. And boring old book. Oh god, it was brutal. But it was about being on the high seas, I think during the, like, before the Industrial Revolution. And, you know, we're reading passages from the book, and I go through the book. And I'm like, blah, 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 this guy, blah, blah, and the N-word, this thing, or whatever else. And he flips the chair around, and he says, you know, we're reading the text here, right? So
Looks over his shoulder. Is there any
we're
here?
all cool here. You can just say it the way it's written, man, because that's how it's written, you know?
Yeah, dude.
I'm
real,
like,
dude.
all right, man, you know, that's fine, whatever.
You're never going to get tenure with that kind of fucking attitude.
Next week, come in, reading passages again. Go through, I'm
no.
reading.
Oh, no.
So I get down,
Oh,
bam, let it rip. You know? Hard R.
No N-word for you. Yeah.
No, I let it rip, right?
Yep.
Because I'm like, that's what Prof says. Let's go,
I
buddy.
got the pass.
You know? All of a sudden, he gets up from, whoa, 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 whoa. You gotta be careful, man. You don't be talking like that in here. We don't tolerate, you know, just the free release.
I would fucking gag that guy, dude.
And I was stunned, you know what I mean? And everyone's like staring at me kind of thing. And I was like, come on, like, give me a break. Like, does this pass only last a week or what? Like, did you forget that you told me last week? Like, and you're going to light me up like this in front of fucking everybody?
It reminds me of the story of my buddy, the Mad Russian, Alex. He went to a Russian master, like he has a master's in electric engineering, or no, physics. He's a monster, dude. He's such a beast. And like they did all their programming on like a PDP-10, dude, like reel to reel shit, and it was all like that's why everybody really loved Russian programmers, because they would take out their notebook and write the whole program and then like kind of do it there, and then they would go and write.
We only have so much time at the machine.
Yeah, it was a timeshare system, right? Dude, I thought he's the coolest thing I've ever fucking heard. And there's zero pretense about this guy. Full of autism, just no fucks given, dude.
Is this another N-word story?
No.
Okay, good.
No, it's about university professors. And they were doing like hex, and they were like translating it. The teacher like did it wrong, and he like stood up in class and walked over and fucking erased it off the board and put the right one on. And he was just like, who are you? Like, you know, and they're very, very, this is Brezhnev's Russia. So it's very hierarchical. Like, I'm a professor at university number 6, Gomel, you know? And, you know, here's this first year comes up and fucking erases the board. And what do you think you're doing? He's just like, it's wrong. And he goes like, what do you think you're doing? He's like, don't you ever presume to teach me. And walked out. I was like, dude, just because he was off by one letter? And he's like, yeah, he was wrong. Who the fuck is he? Like, you're going to teach me?
He sounds absolutely insufferable.
Honestly, dude, he was the coolest fucking guy I've ever fucking known. Because there was...
Couldn't just like raise your hand, excuse me?
No, because you're wrong. It's sort of like when there was a photo of a U.S. Navy... There's a U.S. Navy guy with a fucking like AR-15 or M16 or something like that, and he had the fucking he put the sight on he railed the sight backwards, and this photo went out. And
that photo was horrible, dude. There were so many mistakes, even the way he was holding it,
dude. It was that.
I'm a Canadian, and I knew that was so wrong.
Yeah, and so like that's how he approached it. Oh, Captain, is it? Like, first of all, let me tell you, let me show you what you're doing wrong. Like, don't you, like, you should be fucking out of here. Like, how dare you?
That's not how you make friends, though.
But, like, shouldn't that be what university, like, I think we need a little more that.
Well, okay, on the one hand, I don't think we should just be pushing people through.
No, we should let...
no homework.
We should let autists be assholes.
But I also don't think that we should be, you know, caning people for getting stuff wrong. Or
do you think the world is better for Elon Musk or worse? And the answer is better. It doesn't matter. Like, it's better off. And he is insufferably autistic. I think there needs to be a way to weaponize autism so that they stop becoming furries and trannies and then instead become like ruthless.
We used to.
Yeah, we used to, but
we used to make them into like nerdy scientists. And
yeah, there used to be a fit for these. There used to be a place for these guys. Things are just a little different for you. No, what should happen is just like why aren't you fucking normal? Like, just beat the shit out of these kids and turn them into Lex Luthors. And that's why public school has got to be fixed. So we can take the next crop of autists and turn them into those guys. Instead of like, got cum.
Yeah, instead of like Sonic lovers. What is it about Sonic the Hedgehog?
It's the colors. So you'll notice I watched a video on this, like, why do autistic people love Sonic the Hedgehog? No, that was the title.
Like fan art group about Sonic, it's always like, oh my god.
It's so bright, super saturated colors, and all the characters are their primary color and white. You know what I mean? Like white belly, white glove, big white gloves, you know, like the Smash Boss white glove. Like, there's something about autists and white gloved hands. Like, I don't know. And all primary colors, super saturated, and like no mixing, there's no ambiguity. Do you know what I mean? Like,
have you done the Your Name a Hedgehog?
Yes.
Your Name the Hedgehog. What was yours?
I forget. It was. I remember doing it, and I was just like, DeviantArt. No, I'm done. Click.
I think I did mine. I think it was gay.
Oh yeah, I think mine probably had another Sonic animal in its belly. I might have been a vor hedgehog.
Nice. But yeah, we got to get the autists out of pregnant Sonic
Yeah,
and into like, I don't know, geology sets
yeah.
and, you know, chemical sets and
Do you think
nerd stuff. They should
Yeah.
be nerds.
Yeah.
Why can't they be nerds anymore?
Well, and I believe we're allowed to say this because there are people. There are people. I can smell one in a room, dude, and not just physically. Like I can just, you just know. Oh, that guy plays Smash. That guy's.
Well,
He's one of us.
well, hold on a second. Well, we're old,
Yeah.
right? Younger than us, though, everybody plays Smash. Like, everybody plays Smash.
We have played Smash,
Yeah, I have a pretty decent Ganon.
but we're not Smash players.
No.
Yeah. So you understand the difference. We're the cool kids. One frame reversals get fucked. Like, no, that's it.
I can shuffle.
It's the same thing as like we need autists to do something productive. What's our plan of attack?
I don't know. Honestly, the internet is terrible.
The other problem is autists are immune to propaganda. Like you just can't get them.
No, I don't believe that at all.
Oh, they absolutely are, dude. Somebody's like, "Do you want to eat at McDonald's?" They're like, "Yeah." And you're like, "Do you want to try this other place that you've never tried, but it has really good reviews?" And I'm like, "No, I just like my food. I like the food that I've always had."
The thing that they like, if you expose them to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like a lot of this, you know, the obsession with cartoons and shipping, and
That's shipping is like a very female.
you know, that's the lady side of things. Yeah.
So like, how do we guide them to the light? How do we reintroduce the guitar to autists? If you have no answer, it's understandable because it's a big problem.
I think it's just what they're exposed to, you know?
I think if you have an autism diagnosis, no pornography.
I don't even believe half the autism diagnosis.
No, it's not. You know, and I know, but again, you can smell them, dude. Like you just know. And those people need to be.
It's just what you're exposed to as a kid, man. I mean,
Did
it was
they
cool back then. I mean, you got your Commodore 64, you know?
Do they still have? Well, yeah.
Well, not cool. It was actually detrimentally uncool.
No, it's only for. It has to do with barrier to entry and enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Or like, it's like hobbyist tier shit. So
Also,
like,
too, back then, like technology stuff, you get a geology set, you get a chemistry set, you get a Commodore 64 and stuff like that. You can actually work with it, right? If you get a phone or a computer nowadays, it's not built for you to learn how the guts of it actually work.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
all like it's all UI, it's all front facing
yeah.
buttons and whatnot. Like for them to really learn how something like that works and to get in the meat of things and become a true nerd about it, it's much more difficult nowadays, which is strange, strange to say.
Dude,
but,
there's like,
but it's easier not to.
who would
Right?
you have killed for a Raspberry Pi when you were growing up?
Oh my God, I would have lost my mind, dude.
Or like an Arduino. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Like,
Like I was dicking around in the Commodore 64 and like you had to like delve into the manuals to get it to do anything.
yes.
Right?
I still type like I'm typing in DOS.
You know?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like C and D, period and enter. Those are where my fingers go. And space. You know what I mean? Like that's my home.
Like I set up I set up a custom DOS prompt for myself that had like, you know, ANSI art in it and at the time of day and like all this kind of stuff in it.
I'm so lucky.
Because there was nothing else to do on the fucking computer. It was just
I'm so lucky because I made some friends who introduced me to, I think my first distro was Red Hat 3.5.
I was just on BBS's. Kind of forced you to learn everything back then. Like
Yeah, well, like there was no like recompile kernel button. There was like make clean and make
yeah,
install.
nowadays, like I found that interesting at work too. Like there was a certain class of person, like people older than me, fucking useless at computers.
Yeah,
People my age, kind of good, right?
Yeah.
Kind of knew how they worked, you know, knew how to navigate Windows and stuff like that. And then like the younger people who came in, again, useless at computers, like absolutely useless. Oh, I put it in a folder on your C drive. Like, what's that kind of thing? It's like, dude, you're
19, you're 20. Like, what
you got through university.
Yeah.
I know you did that all on a computer.
Yeah.
Right? And you
You're
seriously
assigned one.
you
Yeah.
seriously have no idea how to get to a folder? You don't have navigate a file structure? There's people working in IT that don't know how to navigate like the Windows folder structure.
There was one thing that I wanted to, that we had stumbled across that I think is the most interesting theory that I've heard probably in the past 2 years. And because like people keep,
It's not Tumblr, is it?
it's Tumblr.
God, no.
Tumblr is to the internet what, like, it is the Harambe. It is the genesis. It is the source of what happened. So, like, the idea of a containment board, like, Poll is a containment board. FYAD was a containment board. Like, autists and, like, spazzes, go over here. You can shit up this area all you fucking want. But stay out of GBS. Like, you're not allowed in here. You had mentioned that, like, all that, the first time you came across a pronoun was like Tumblr.
Yeah, it was all there first. That's where it all exploded, where they all got addicted to it, where it spread, it got contagious, because it had likes and everything behind it, right? Yeah. And it was all artsy, young people, virtuous,
demisexuals.
Competing for,
uniqueness.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know, like, I'm not racist. Like. Well,
like I went back and, because after you told me about that, I went back and rewatched a couple of those Tumblrisms, like Medicare videos. Well, they were internet aristocrat at the time, but like the Headmates one is pretty fucking crazy. And I was just like, man, they just like goad each other. Like they just
all the shipping, all the weird obsession with identity and race and sexuality and gender and pronoun. That's where all like the 52 genders came from.
Yeah,
it's from Tumblr. People coming up with lists and collaborating. Like that's where it all the old term SJW.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Like that was ground zero for internet SJW. Like that's where it all went fucking bananas.
And then also because like it was at a time where it was considered, this is pre-Instagram, but like these women like and men and like these unfuckables are hanging out on Tumblr instead of like Instagram or where the fuck was popular after Facebook.
And they fed off each other.
Yeah, dude, it was like a
they refined how to be the perfect social justice warrior.
It became an adaptive fiction, a reinforced adaptive fiction. And then they shut down. There was no more porn. And that's what opened up the gates.
Yeah, once it closed down, then they just spread to the rest of it and they shitted up the rest of the internet. But also, too, like, young people.
Yeah.
Like, this is where, like, 14-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, blah, blah, blah. And then these people get all righteous on this and... that's their version of punk. Like when we were kids, like our punk was to get into an alternative scene. That was their alternative scene, their group, it became their identity. And then they go off to university, and they go off to higher schooling or whatever else. And then
Tumblr was the SRK forum, the
alt.games of SF2, rec.video.games.arcade,
yeah, but like being
Usenet.
Being on Usenet was only for sophisticates. Like that was the aristocrats. Like that was not.
Yeah, that was elite.
Yeah, like you didn't.
That was high end nerd kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I was on that before I had a mouse. But yeah, Tumblr. I think anytime you see any internet shittiness or social justice bananas kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And anyone says like, "Oh, where did all this come from? Like, how did the internet get like this, or Reddit get like this?" Like. Yeah. Tumblr. I always go back to Tumblr. It all started with Tumblr.
So Tumblr...
I can't think of anywhere else on the internet prior to Tumblr that had that like crazy identity, gender obsessed, race obsessed.
Yeah,
where they bullied a girl into killing herself because her fan art had the wrong skin tone. you know?
Yeah. Well, they're still doing that. They're still.
But that was where
Yeah.
people realized, like, what the fuck is going on Tumblr? Like, she was like a 14-year-old girl, you know, and all the weird fan arty people, and that's where like. I don't know if DeviantArt was around back then. It wasn't as big, though. It
predates Tumblr by ways.
But that's where, you know, it was way more popular, and that's where you got all your likes and you built up your fan base and whatever else. And I'm sure you know about the righteous SJW kind of thing. Like, have you been on Blue Sky recently, or
no?
No, you're not on Blue Sky.
I have I follow
not even a burner.
No. I follow an account that is just like the best of Blue Sky, where I'm just like, oh, dude, I don't even want to see. It stinks of, it's not quite despair, but it's like this like needful
desperation.
Yeah, it's so gross. Like,
Tumblr.
Like, right, guys?
I'm not racist.
Who's with me? You know, like,
guys, fucking relax. No one said you were racist. Just. Why does every discussion have to be about this shit? You know, like, do you have any other hobbies besides like gender?
Identity is very important to me, and I think if you, unfortunately, as a white cishet, you'll never understand.
Weird to you? Like, how come that doesn't seem weird to people?
Well, in the same way that I think, you know, once you get into communism, you know, everything becomes about labor and value and exploitation. When you get into politics, and I'm guilty of this, everything becomes about power. When you get into philosophy, everything becomes about meaning. And when you get into progressive theory or critical theory, everything, even though it pretends it's not, like, everything is about power and but they become preoccupied with the manifestations of power. And
I don't even think they really care about power. They just care about picking apart.
Oh, of course they do.
Picking apart the systems.
Yeah, no, but this is how this is their only means through which one.
How can I point a finger at this guy? I can find a way. If I look hard enough, if I pick up every rock, I can find racism somewhere under one of them.
How do I attack the power structure? How do I delegitimize existing power structures? And it's just like,
fucking relax.
No, you pull a French Revolution. You get a bunch of rich people who want a bunch of other rich people dead, and use a bunch of poor people to fucking kill them.
That's the worst part too. Is like you come from a well-off family. Like, why are you so angry?
Well,
you know, is it some weird like shame about like?
So what do you think? Where do you stand on?
Is it because I'm a poor person, or that I'm not obsessed with this stuff? Ironically, in a way.
I think your station is set.
Do you know what I mean? But do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it seems like the most like they like really privileged young people seem like super susceptible to this kind of like stuff.
Well, like you ever somebody's
part of me thinks it's like, is it smarts? Are they just dumb? But no, I don't think it is. I think there's something else going on there, and I don't know what's going on.
My favorite phrase for this is they're like, oh, you know, like, you know, you had a bad day, and it's just like any day above ground is a good day. And like,
well, gratitude. Yeah, I suppose that's it.
There's a wisdom in that fucking phrase where it's just like, look, I'm not dead. Like, things are looking up. Tomorrow's another day. Like, little orphan Annie. Like, let's fucking go. And
like, I'm not going to get mad that this fan art of Sonic has skin color that's a little too white.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that really worth getting angry about and like sending death threats to people about?
The Catholics have a word for this. It's called grace.
Ha!
Right?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's not just wisdom. Wisdom is useful only sometimes. It's grace that saves you.
I don't know about... Well, hold on. Now you're getting...
No, I'm telling you.
I'm just talking about... It's always a certain type of
any
person. Usually a lady, for some reason.
Yeah.
I've only been screamed at about, like...
pronouns?
Being offensive and stuff like that from women.
Yeah.
It's never been a fella. Fellas are just generally chill. Most of them are like, yeah, fuck it.
I don't know. It's too much. I'm still not convinced that the hard times are we're in the midst of the hard times.
You don't think? You think it's going to get worse or better?
Nothing ever happens.
Oh, okay.
Consult the graph. Don't make me tap the sign. Like,
I'm actually kind of...
are you optimistic about the future?
I don't know, because who knows, man? Like, the world's kind of going to shit, but this AI stuff is coming.
Should we just let ourselves be optimistic? Should we just buy into Trump and the
Governments are going to be shook up. I'm not, they're not going to haul out guillotines, but stuff is changing. Like,
should.
obviously,
Yeah.
right? Like, there's no way Trudeau's getting back in. Like, no fucking way in hell. Like, Trump's in there. They want to bull in the China shop. Let's see what he does, right?
What if Trudeau gets back in?
No fucking way, dude.
He's gonna run again.
No way.
He's never gonna step down, dude. Are you fucking kidding
No,
me?
he's never stepping down.
They've
but, like,
already tried to oust him twice, dude, and they've had 3 motions of confidence this year alone.
there's no way.
He is unstoppable,
He's
and
getting
at
back
this
in.
point, like, I only take sick glee.
All right, you want a steak bet? There's no way, man.
Dude, I feel like he's such a outsider. This is like a 5 stake to 1 kind of bet, dude. This is a long shot.
It is.
But I've never
If he gets in, I'm going to lose all faith entirely.
gone hungry betting on the lowest common denominator.
But
Like-
people are just so fed up, man. I just don't see how it's going to happen. Like, people are just so sick of this schmarmy, schmaltzy.
They weren't sick of it 4 years ago. They weren't sick of it 8 years ago.
Well, 4 years ago, it was also COVID, right?
Yeah, then he was. Remember when he had the fucking.
If you can believe it, times were actually better during the midst of COVID.
Remember when he had
for
that?
most people.
He was running around in those fucking varsity jackets, the liberal varsity jackets, where he's just like rabble rousing, dude. Like,
I think people are fed up and done with him, and like, all right, bro, we get it. Like, you did your thing.
I'm not
You
gonna
know,
let you
get the fuck out. You know,
hurt other people. I'm gonna save. I'm Justin Trudeau. I'm gonna save these people.
it's gonna save the world.
I'm not gonna let you.
By the way, that chick we gave that virus to from Winnipeg who went back to Wuhan, forget about her.
Yeah, dude, don't just pay no attention. The thing is, like, if you were to, here's what I think could happen, because like Canadians are fucked either way. But like, when we talk about the truckers, because I'm like, these guys fucking ruined everything. They didn't accomplish shit, and they made it impossible to fucking basically pull this shit again, right? The thing is, like, Canadians are not willing to exert force
No.
to reclaim their own country. And when I say force, I mean, I'm not talking about burning down buildings. I am not advocating for the destruction of property. However, what I am saying is that singing "O Canada" as you're trampled by a bunch of cops, the optics don't, like, no one gives a fuck about optics. Blind power still wins. Do you want to,
You don't think they garnered a lot of sympathy from the public?
no one can? No, I don't think they did, because CBC
I think you're kind of mistaken.
yeah, post, but during it, you tell me. You tell me what the average Canadian thought about them. They fucking hated them. Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. They're like, these fucking guys.
But now I don't think they do. Now I think a lot of people might look in hindsight and be like, you know what? Maybe they were onto something.
well, maybe we should be able to, directly affect our locked parliament, who can't do anything except pass hate speech laws and make it illegal.
I think they got a lot of sympathy now. Like, maybe not like everybody.
Yeah, but
But-
it doesn't translate into actual power.
Okay, Mr. Obsessed with Power. How would it? How would any kind of protest result in a power without hauling out guillotines?
Short of pulling out guillotines, I can get some shit done without guillotines for sure. If you want to do your occupation, go do your occupation. Go down there, right? But you treat the cops the same way you treat scabs.
You think that'd fly?
They have names. They have addresses. They have family.
You can't be making lists, dude.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
That's not gonna fly.
I don't want to pull out the guillotines, but something's got to be done.
I don't know if they're going to be cool with your stochastic terrorism.
Dude, I thought about the phrase the other day. It was like an act of stochastic Trumpism. Yeah, no, like you can't. No one's coming to save you. So what are you going to do? Well, is it ever going to get any better? Just like realistically, I want acceleration for Canada. I want it to get so fucking bad that the average Canadian takes some goddamn responsibility for themselves to save whatever it is that they stand for. I want Alberta to leave. Would I go and pick up a rifle and stand at the BC border? Yeah, I would. I'd do it for Alberta. But I wouldn't do it for Canada. Fuck no. I'd do it for Alberta. I love this province. I love the people in it. I love what it means. That's where I'm at. Or like, how bad does it have to get in Alberta? Well, it's not that bad yet.
This is going to get real bad if you want that, bro.
At some point,
but I think the only thing they could have done is just trying to raise awareness. Like, there's not much else they could really do without, especially at that time, since everyone fucking hated them.
So how did those color revolutions work?
I don't know.
So you get enough people. Actually, Adam Gold has a good friend. He's like, you get enough people together, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can do anything you want.
At that time, there was no way in hell they could have done. If they had made lists, like, this is the cops, this is where their families are, and all this stuff. Like, oh my god, they all would have been rounded up and thrown in jail immediately.
Look who, like, guess where all those cops that they pulled overtime to go in there, and they were just like, we want whoever's willing to break skulls to come in here. Just like, take photos of them, find out where they live, find out who their family is.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. It's a huge overreach. The government went mental.
Yes, fuck these people.
It was ridiculous.
Look, if you want to talk about Canada, and if you want to do it for Canada, well, then you have friends and you have enemies. And what is the purest manifestation of the force of the state? Well, it's the cops. And look, if a cop doesn't want to get fucked with, just put on the armband. Just give me some kind of symbol. Just let me know. Okay? Doesn't have to be a full armband. Maybe just put a pin on your lapel and you will be left alone. But these other guys, sorry, they were like, I'm standing up for the West. They were like, dude, look at what you're willing to trample a granny to protect.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely shameful.
And there's
crazy.
And not only that, there isn't a single law that they are unwilling to enforce. They don't have discretion when it comes to a group of people. Right? Like,
well, the whole thing was a disaster, but I think,
dude, they signed up. They were like, fly me out to Ottawa and I will crack fucking skulls for you. They were talking about
that's not the Canadian way, eh?
That was a WhatsApp group. Do you see those leaks?
No.
Dude, they're talking one and they're like, bro, I can't wait to fucking get out there and just crush these fucking people. Like, talking about the breakfast buffet at the hotel and like, all right, boys, get your gear. It's time to go and fucking beat some people up, dude. They love it. They fucking love it.
I think nowadays,
and you tell me for a single second that
do you think any of them regret it?
No.
Really? None of them? Not
they
one?
fucking love it. Dude, there was this one cop from Calgary here that I remember reading an article, and he was just like, look, they came to me and they said, you must hand out these tickets for not having masks or being out in public. And he was like, no, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm given reasonable discretion. Okay? Like, just because somebody's walking on the street, I'm not going to go and fuck with them. They're like, you fucking better. And he's just like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he fucking quit.
We gotta be a hard line.
Well, he's just like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, it was brutal. It was crazy. But I think now,
so what's
in hindsight,
so what's it? No,
a lot of people.
Look, would you say that okay, I'll start over. Would you say that past behavior is a strong indicator of future behavior?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say there are scenarios in which it is not?
It's not a guarantee.
Okay. Would you say that when someone enters into a semi-paralegal organization, like structural, that it is critical to the survival of that system to obey the commands of those above them?
Depends. That's very sketch. Like,
Turn your key, sir.
pick up that can.
Pick up that can. But
It depends.
look,
But generally, yes. Right. Generally, right.
You can't have privates deciding today they're not going to march. It's like, sorry, today we're marching, and if you don't like it, fucking the brig for you.
Well, yeah. That's how military works, right?
And guess what guess what cops are, dude?
Yeah, basically.
Yes, they have to be. They have to be. So, in the scenario in which they've done it before and they will do it again, and which it is not acceptable to countermand any orders or disobey any orders, what do you think that these people will do in their position if you decide that you want to challenge the legitimacy of the sitting prime minister?
Ooh, they're gonna do a lot. You're gonna feel even worse than just the cops if you do that. Depends what you mean by challenge the legitimacy of the sitting prime minister, right?
But that's what they did. That's what the truckers did.
Yeah.
They had to
They protested.
remove the restrictions and requirements for vaccination in order to cross the border as truckers, or step down. There was your ultimatum. Can you tell me in what way that doesn't challenge the legitimacy of the state?
Oh, it totally does. I mean,
Do it?
they're obviously not happy,
Yeah.
and they put up ultimatums. But of course, they were going to, especially if they had done it like today, it'd be different. But back then, of course, they were going to get shot down. However, the way the government did it was ridiculous, shameful, like ridiculous overreach.
I think you don't understand. Like, if you think that that was overreach,
Yeah, of course it was.
you don't understand the how insane their demands were from the position of the state.
Of course, there's no way they would ever agree to it.
Yeah, they can't. They literally can't.
Yeah, exactly.
And they said, disperse, get out of here. And they said, no. And they're like, get your trucks and move out of here. And they're like, no, we're not gonna. And they're like, we're gonna haul you out. And they're like, good fucking luck, because every tow truck driver that does that has a name and a business and a family. So they're willing to do it to private citizens who are just, here's $200, go haul this truck. But they're not willing.
I don't recall them ever making lists of tow truck drivers.
They did.
Yeah?
Yes. They were trying to hire tows in. They were trying to bring them in from Northern Ontario, and all these people had private businesses. And they were like, if you ever do that, like, if we catch you, if we know who you are, like, we know who you are, we know where your business is, we'll never fucking use you. Like, everyone will fucking know you're a scab, basically. That you're a fucking bootlicker. We're fighting for your freedoms. How dare you, comrade?
The government should have just got their own trucks. They should have bought them all.
They don't have them.
They should have used the military.
They don't have them. And they tried to use the military here in Alberta to try and clear the blockade down at Coots. And the one, piece of equipment that they could find was for, it was, not able to do it because they had the whole highway fucking cleared up. So, stuff like RCMP were, going into people's yards and cutting fuel lines and destroying their trucks. Because they might use it as part of this blockade.
It's ridiculous.
This is what these people are willing to do to you. And they don't, I guess the reason what pisses me off about the truckers, they talked like, I'm fucking do it or we'll make you. And then they're like, oh yeah?
No, they should have just ticketed and towed everybody. It would have taken forever, taken 2 years.
Yep.
But that's it. That's what should have happened.
Yeah, and everyone's like, yeah, see, you're no longer sympathetic to the truckers.
No, of course I am.
No, you're not.
Why?
Because when we say sympathy, it means that you agree with their plight.
But I also don't think you can block the roads.
They weren't blocking the roads. Not completely.
If you're in the road, period, and you're not moving, you get ticketed and you get towed.
This was an encampment that they left. Like, I watched GoPro videos of people driving through downtown Ottawa. It was down to a single lane, but...
So everyone not in that single lane gets ticketed because you can't stay there forever.
Yeah. No, so they were parked on both sides of the road.
Yeah, you can't park there forever.
Well, this was political action. What other... so the next question is, if you're saying...
It's like those idiot protesters, like the climate change protesters who block the road. Like,
so what other... So when you say, what else are they supposed to do except turn to violence?
so
you said, how do you get this done without pulling out the guillotine?
Oh, how do you actually affect power?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So this is what's left to a non-violent citizen, one who does not want to circumvent the entire system. What are they to do?
All you can do is protest and vote. That's it.
Raise awareness.
Yeah, that's it.
So why are revolutions in places like Syria or Georgia or the Arab Spring, Egypt, Tunisia, why are those successful and ours are not?
Because we don't have revolutions.
The leaders stepped down. There was no revolution. A true revolution requires, well, what we understand as a revolution requires...
You're talking about a coup?
No, it requires a complete restructuring of the order. When we look at other revolutions, they go from being monarchies to democracies, go from being monarchies to communism. They go from being a English-ruled, colony to their own independent state and like democracy. Those are revolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you think that's possible to happen here peacefully?
Never.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so.
What they had was, yes,
it's too entrenched, man.
They had a non-violent coup, and that's why they had to give it some weird name like the Arab Spring.
Yeah.
So what is it that made those successful?
You think they were non-violent?
I think the threat of violence.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I think a bunch of people showed up and the guy in charge was like, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
See you guys.
So the problem with the truckers is that they kept it to truckers.
Yeah.
What they should have done is gotten as many people as possible.
Yeah. But at that time, it wasn't as many people as possible who were willing to do it.
It was not popular. It was not its time, right?
Yeah.
But there was plenty of people who, I think, if you'd made it more, because like most of these people, like, they're funded, so it's really hard to like kind of get these things moving. These people need money and supplies and all these other things. But yeah, realistically, you have to show up with like such numbers that they can't be dispersed.
Yeah, they get scared. Like, all right, back down. All right. Yeah.
So
still, though, I don't even think our...
So will Canadians ever show up to something in such numbers that it can't be dispersed?
I don't think our government can even allow having a certain number of people show up and having a leader deposed. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think that could even, like, is that even possible? You would have to, everyone in the House of Commons would have to walk out. Like, they'd have to get rid of, like, all of them, right?
Well, currently the House of Commons is stuck because the Conservatives put forward a motion. They're like, you must provide us the names of X.
Yeah.
And the Liberals are like, no, we don't.
That's ridiculous.
And the Speaker was like, no, you do. And they're like, cool.
So we're just going to stall forever.
So we're just not going to have
a government.
This is like
the dumbest thing ever.
Well, sort of like the U.S. always has like, we're going to shut it down because you won't pass the
budget or something.
Yeah, they shut down. Remember, like all the hey, if you work at the ranger department in the forest, go home. Like,
sorry, park wardens.
Yeah, see you later. So I guess you have to say it's not bad enough.
Oh, it's going to have to get hella bad.
I think
want that to happen, dude.
See, I used to think about that, and I still think about the Canadian, and how bad does it have to get for the Canadian? There isn't There isn't a Romanian communist prison shitty enough to make the sad, pathetic Canadian willing to put his.
I think a lot of Canadians would be like the cattle led into the, just walking down through the gates. Oh, where am I going?
It's not in us, dude.
Yeah.
It's not in us.